Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, interspecies erotica, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the belly dancer to my donkey, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
I don't know if donkey would be the one I would go to, but
No.
that's fine if donkeys are what you're into.
Yeah, sometimes I'm in the mood for a horse or a donkey or... So what are we talking about today? Actually, before you get into that, we're not alone today in the studio. Joining us, once again, our good friend, Big Swede from Swede Studios, Nick. Hello, sir.
What's going on?
How are you?
I'm well.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. And why don't you tell everybody what we're talking about today?
We're talking about one of the best. I guess you could say progressive rock, art rock.
So we're going to talk about that, like their style.
Yeah,
but...
it's hard to really put a name on it, but we're talking about fucking Tool.
Yes, Patreon selected music topic. Tool. We're going to get into the band, their albums. We've got a top 5 songs list, and you are very well versed in Tool, so we decided to bring you on, and hopefully you can make up for some of my shortcomings. And
That's what she said.
I could not believe what I was reading when I heard that Jason had never listened to Tool.
yeah, and we're going to get into it in some detail. It's
Shame.
I know, no,
Same.
I know.
Same.
Especially now after I've kind of like buried myself in it for the last couple of weeks. It's like, oh, I think I get it. But before we get into all of that, we got some business to take care of.
Yes.
Should we talk
You do.
Patreon first?
You have business.
All right. Well, first we would like to give a. It's like your arm is so short.
So far away. Look at it.
So small.
So small.
My feet is so smooth.
Look at my fingers on the screen. It looks like it just.
This is an exclusive for the YouTube audience. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry. We'd like to give a huge shout out to our current patrons, Chuck and Mark, Frank Kalevich, Frederick Martin, Lord Helmet Fire, Scott and Kim from the Used and Abused podcast, Ivo G, Kristen Roscom, Nick from Swede Studios,
Hey!
Catherine Rennick, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, who is in my house as we speak,
Right.
Don Solsky, Nicholas Schaefer, David Schmuck, Wally Frogmore, Tony Ferrari, Brady Biglovin, and Dragon Buddy. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. This is a Patreon selected episode, and we have one more Patreon selected episode. We still have to do a Bond movie. A specific one, it was On Her Majesty's Service, is the one I believe that the patrons selected for us to watch. So we'll get to that within the next couple of months. We got a lot of Star Wars shit going on, so we'll squeeze it in whenever we can.
Indeed.
And otherwise, thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this.
Way too many snaps.
Yeah,
in that read.
was a lot of snaps.
That wasn't us. There was too many snaps. Even he snapped. For God's
Egregious.
sake.
It's my thing. It's what I do.
Son of a bitch.
Do you got anything Red 5 to talk about?
The Red 5 network has expanded into the gaming world. Level up with Red 5 as this new venture continues to grow into what will be daily streams of console, PC, mobile, and tabletop games, a weekly gaming news pod, and sessions from your favorite Red 5 podcasters, like us. Or like Jason, probably, because I don't have time. Please help by subscribing to Red 5 Gaming. Head to bio.link/Red5Gaming. That's bio.link/Red5 Gaming. More Red 5 news after the show.
Yeah. They're already giving me shit in the chat. What is it about our listeners and just fucking giving me shit all the time? All the time,
It's easy and it's fun.
Yeah, that's what we live for.
I guess. So before we get into some of the news topics of the week, Nick, I forgot to let you tell the people who you are, who's your daddy, and what does he do?
I mean, most people probably already know who I am, but
More than likely.
Swede. If you listen to the Escape Pod guys, I do many things, and there's many different iterations of Swede.
Yes. I brought wipes just in case there was some pre-Swede.
Lately, though, a lot of that stuff has been toned down, and it's really Sweet Studios that has kind of come to the forefront of the stuff that I'm doing. So I've been doing the quarantine sessions thing for a couple years now, doing covers with other people around YouTube. Soon to be recording some original stuff with
Nice.
my old band from back in the day in the early 2000s out in Phoenix. We're getting together to re-record some of the old stuff, maybe do some new stuff. So
Sweet.
definitely looking forward to that. I do have some quarantine session stuff in the works. Working on a Foo Fighters tune right now, which is almost done. Just waiting on some video, and that'll be coming out soon.
Awesome.
I've gotten to hear a little. I've gotten to hear a little preview.
Yeah.
Of the Foo Fighter stuff. I'm excited. Can't wait.
Nice.
Are you a Foo Fighters? Like,
Don't tell me you've never listened to Foo Fighters.
I have, but again, just the mainstream singles that they've had released. Nothing beyond that.
I think we're gonna have to crowbar some fucking Foo Fighters onto you, much like we did with the Tool stuff.
With Tool, yeah. One band at a time. So let's get through Tool, and then we'll talk about Foo Fighters at another juncture.
Fair enough.
So, did you guys watch the new Obi-Wan trailer last week? I'm asking like there's really any question.
There was a trailer. I had no idea.
I think it came out on Wednesday. On May the 4th.
Oh, on May the 4th.
I know not what you speak of.
Oh, okay. Well,
Is that
I saw
significant?
it.
Is
Yeah,
is that a significant event?
it is. There's this new show coming out at the end of the month. You should check it out. You might like it.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna end up fucking missing. I'm gonna fucking miss the first fucking show because I might be TDY.
Yeah.
Fuck, how am I gonna do that? Is Disney Plus gonna work overseas?
VPN, baby.
Yeah. Fuck. God damn it! I haven't had to worry
I
about
know.
shit like that in a long time.
I know, right?
Fuck.
Not since our flying days.
All right, I'll be FaceTiming with somebody to fucking watch the show.
Anyway, so they released a new Obi-Wan trailer last week. It was only under a minute and a half long, but it definitely got the point across, and just continuing to build up this hype.
Yeah, the point is, I think I had said a lot after the other trailer, like, this idea that Obi-Wan's going to be doing a lot of fighting and putting himself out there, potentially jeopardize everything. Well, apparently he's going out there and doing a lot of fighting and jeopardizing everything. So
Nailed it.
yeah, perfect. Good job. And I think we get an idea what Vader's going to be into as well. So all this.
Yeah, we got a really cool montage scene of Vader basically being put together, like the fucking arms coming on like a factory almost.
Yeah.
It's like the Darth Vader factory. But it was enough to build the excitement. Yeah, pretty much. And of course, it had Duel of the Fates, like a remastered version of Duel of the Fates, starting the trailer off, and yeah, every time. Are you okay?
Breathing, Jason. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Just imagine you've run 10 feet. So,
No, it's one flight of stairs. Just
sorry.
one flight of stairs.
yeah. All right. But yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up since it came out after we recorded the last show, and
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Again, it's do we need anything else to once again excite our expectations?
No, but every time they release something, it's just like amps it up just a little bit more every time.
These motherfuckers. It's
Sweden all over the place.
all
Indeed.
over. Here, do you need a tissue?
I'm good. I'm good for now.
Yep. And then, Nick, you brought it to our attention when you got here that the official Star Wars, one of their social media platforms, posted the first day of production of Ahsoka has started.
It's my girl.
So we know that's now going. I would imagine timeline-wise, maybe middle of next year, about a year from now, hopefully. That's when we'll see that.
Everything I was reading was saying next year. I don't know exactly when, but next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they finished filming Mandalorian earlier this year, like 2 months ago or something like that, and we're probably going to see it in December. So that was a less than a year turnaround.
But
So-
as was discussed previously, Andor, like who knows? Who knows what the
Yeah.
Who knows what Disney's doing these days? Because that
Well,
shit's been done forever. And it's still not
right.
out.
Yet apparently they're already talking about multiple seasons.
second season,
And it's
yeah.
like, you want to show us the first one first?
Yeah,
Maybe,
can we-
Maybe.
even a trailer or a screen grab from the show.
Something.
Nope. It's going to be great. Trust us.
Right.
We're going to make all of them
All-
first, and then you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Or else.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. No. Absolutely not.
I do have to add one more thing though,
What's that?
because earlier, well, I guess it was end of last week. I don't know. Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got the new trailer for
Yes.
Cobra Kai, which
Cobra Kai.
Dave doesn't give a shit. I know, but
Fuck you, Dave.
we know that that speaking of movies or shows that have been done filming for a while, they finished filming that back in like January or some shit like that. But there was no word as to when we were going to see it. Most people were estimating December because that's when it's been released up to this point. But we got a new trailer this week and a release date of September. Yeah. So, and I kind of wonder if that might have something to do with the fact that I guess Netflix is not doing so well right now.
Yeah, there's some stuff going down.
Yeah, apparently they're losing subscribers, stocks plummeting.
I can't imagine. Like, they do this whole thing with, like, oh, hey, guess what? We're going to, you know, that whole sharing of passwords that you're doing? Well, we're going to stop you from doing that. And then people are like, yeah, you know what? We don't like your shit that much anyway, so fuck you. And
Yeah.
they're canceling.
Yeah, and it's the first time I think in their history that they've lost subscribers month to month like this. And it kind of makes me wonder for shows like Cobra Kai, where they always dump the whole season like in one shot. Like they've done that for every season of Cobra Kai. So it makes me wonder, are they going to go towards like the model that Disney does, where they still release new episodes weekly, even though they could just like dump the whole season to keep people from canceling, you know, when there is a show like Cobra Kai out that people like us absolutely love.
My wife was like, "We need to cancel Netflix." I'm like, "Shut your mouth."
Yeah. Because I'll find myself going back and rewatching old episodes of Cobra Kai.
I watch all kinds of stuff. Like I'll go back and watch all kinds. Like I don't know if you've ever watched The Last Kingdom.
No.
Dude, great fucking show. Great fucking show. If you like kind of historical drama, like medieval England, like the Danes and the Saxons and shit like that. It's a great fucking show. And they just finished season 5, and I go back and watch that all the time.
Yeah.
And then Cobra Kai. There's Lucifer. Lucifer's another great show on there.
Yeah, I never seen that either.
God, the hell, man.
I don't watch a lot of TV, honestly. It's Star Wars stuff and Cobra Kai, and that's basically it.
Honestly, I was told that I have to watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Kristen's been trying to get me to watch that too, but it's just like, again, when? When am I going to do all this?
Yeah.
No time. Anyway, we ready to get into our weeks?
I thought we were already doing that. But yes.
No. All right. So for me, I saw Doctor Strange last week, the new Doctor Strange. Again, something I know Dave doesn't really give a shit about.
Not yet.
Huh? Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Well,
Are we converting Dave?
No.
no spoilers, obviously, but
please.
I know there's been a lot of back and forth. Some people like really dislike it. Some people are liking it. I liked it. I thought it was good. It was fun. I love alternate reality, multiverse type of storyline. So maybe that's part of it, but I enjoyed the whole thing. Like nothing about it pissed me off.
So I think the reason that I might go to see this is because somebody told me that it's very like not edgy, not graphic, but like violent.
It's violent, and
Yeah.
they try to add like a bit of a horror aspect to it a little bit in places.
See, I wouldn't mind something like that with a little extra violence and a little darkness.
Yeah.
Darkness.
No parrots.
So, and not so much of the campy fucking superhero bullshit
Yeah.
that you get with all the Avengers and all this other bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it's just here's the alternate reality thing and stuff like that. I mean, I could, from what I'm reading online,
Mm-hmm.
like without spoilers, I feel like, you know what, this is probably a movie that I don't think I would. This is something I probably wouldn't mind seeing.
Well, if you have a desire to see it, you should watch the last Spider-Man movie too, because
Yeah, I heard
what
I heard it
happens
was
in
good.
that kind of leads into this. So
And you should probably watch WandaVision too, because that's
fuck WandaVision.
I will say I did not watch that, and I was able to follow what was going on.
I don't.
You should probably watch all of the MCU stuff.
Right? Yeah, just watch all the movies. Fuck it, all 30-something movies.
I'm not going to do that. A. B. Fuck the WandaVision thing because unless there's nudity, I'm just not going to do it.
God, Elizabeth Olsen is fucking smoking hot though. Like I would do unforgivable things to her.
Did you see what what's his nuts in that award show? It's saying how Elizabeth Olsen like, oh, where's she been hiding? She's obviously the best one. Seth Rogen had said something in an award show.
She hasn't been hiding anywhere. She's been
I know
in the spotlight for years now.
I think he was just talking about it. Anyway, it was out there. It was a fucking meme that was out there.
All right, fair enough.
37.
In a row?
Why are we talking about 37? Sorry.
Delayed reaction.
You could have kept going. You could have.
I'm 37.
Nope. Nope. We were waiting for you to.
Well,
figure
no. When you when you don't touch the screen for a while, it goes back to the default menu. So then I got to hit the menu and
Nope.
then I got to find the right
Your
tab.
finger
and-
fucking the damn mixer board. So it's just
So-
more fun to watch you do
Gotta
it.
be on top of your shit.
So anyway, Doctor Strange, thumbs up from me. Go see it.
Okay.
I will.
We talked about it before we went live, but my whole retiring from the military kind of got fast tracked in the last week.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, so because I was initially not expecting to start my new job until like mid-July, but they finished all the background checks and everything on me, and they're like, "Can you start May 16th?" I'm like, "No, that's like a week from now." I'm like. They're like, okay, well, we really need you to start. So can you do May 31st? I'm like, okay. So now I'm like scrambling to get all my fucking military retirement shit done and get everything else needed to get done that I need for the new job. And I'm very frustrated right now, but it's a good kind of frustration because it's all building towards my freedom from the military and also the start of my next chapter of life.
Yeah, you get to join the club, man.
Yeah.
I know,
You
right?
get to
The Blue Card Mafia.
That's right. You get
Nice.
to wrap yourself in a nice warm DD214
Although-
blanket.
Although you don't get the Blue Card anymore, do you?
Oh,
Oh yeah, they're all that new CAC format.
yeah.
I'm holding on to my Blue Card as long as possible.
Yeah, mine's good till like 2032
Fucking
or
A.
something.
Fucking
Damn.
A, right.
It looks like ass though already. I mean, it's only fucking 5 years old, and it looks like somebody fucking like a dog chewed it up and then fucking shat it out.
Ah, sweet.
Yours is in good shape.
Yeah. So besides that, in addition to these big life changes, I have decided to liquidate my Magic the Gathering collection as a means to get some extra money on hand in case I need it as I'm transitioning from one job to another. So I dropped all of my cards off at a local store. They're going through them as we speak, and they're going to give me an offer on my collection at the end of the week.
So this is in its entirety.
Yeah.
Because I know.
Well, I kept like 2 decks to play with Rob, but for the most part, like everything else. And we're talking well over 10, 15 grand's worth of cards.
Yeah, because I know when you bought the house, you would off-gas a bunch of cards to
Yep.
be able to get the down payment on the house.
Mm-hmm.
So if that tells you something about Jason's collection of cards, it's significant.
Yep. And to answer your question, David Schmuck in the chat, yes, I did save a couple of EDH decks. That's what I play against with Rob. So yeah, I do have a couple of those. And this isn't the end of my card buying days, but it's just a way to get rid of. First of all, it was taking up so much goddamn space. Like I had 20 full binders on shelves, and then I had boxes like filling my closet.
Wow.
So I took it all, and
Wow.
yeah. So they'll give me a nice lump of cash, and then just over time, I'll build up a collection again, just like I always do. So it's not the end, but again, I need some cash right now because I need to buy a new car. We need a new roof on part of the house, and again, I'm transitioning jobs. And based on your experiences, I know I can't really count on those retirement checks to start coming in for
Not
a
right
while.
away. Not right away, but hopefully you won't have my experience.
Yeah.
I know.
I was pretty lucky with mine. Like everything between military retirement, VA stuff, everything came in when it was supposed to come in.
Yeah?
So
Oh, good.
I didn't have any issues, but
Now, of course, mine is way more short notice than I
Yeah,
would imagine either
facts.
of you two had to do. So we'll see. But I'm preparing for the worst.
Yeah, prep for the worst, hope for the best.
Yep.
Yep.
thanks.
And that's pretty much been my week. Nick, you got anything you want to add?
Dude, I haven't been doing a whole lot. I mean, other than work, sitting in my basement, working by myself.
He came and visited me in the
Yeah,
squadron.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had to come in. I had to go to the base to pick up some prescriptions, so stopped in, hung out with the boys in the squadron for a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, other than that, I've been in like concert going mode lately.
Yeah.
I guess it was about a week ago. I went out to AC and I saw Breaking Benjamin, Seether, this band called Starset. Was never heard of them before, but they were really fun, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great show. And then Wednesday going to see Seven Dust
Nice. Where at?
in Philly at Theater of the Living Arts.
Not sure if I know.
Where
which
is
one
Smaller.
that?
It's. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. It's in Philly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a lot of places that you could play in
Yeah.
Philly.
But yeah, so you guys kind of messed with my normal like concert mojo with this. So like normally like a week out, I'm just binging whatever band I'm going to see. So all this weekend, I should have been listening to Seven Dust, but because of this, I've been listening to Tool.
Right.
So immediately following this episode here,
You got to flip the switch.
I got to flip the switch and start listening to Seven Dust because
Listen,
Gotta get to it.
you are extremely familiar with Seven Dust
Yeah.
and its catalog. I'm sure that you will be fine. Oh, it's on South Street
sure.
by Head House Square. Okay, yeah, I know exactly where it is. All right, they must have changed the name. I don't remember that name.
That's what they do.
yeah,
It's just like the Electric Factory is not the Electric Factory
Yeah, you
anymore.
can't-
But it's still the Electric Factory. I don't care what anybody calls it.
right.
It's the Electric Factory.
Yeah, it'll always be the Electric Factory. Fuck these kids.
Yeah.
Franklin Music, whatever the fuck they
I
want
don't
to
even
call
know
it.
what it's
I don't
called.
know. Yeah,
I don't even know.
it's the Electric Factory.
Just agree with us, Jason.
Yeah, that Franklin guy.
Yeah, fuck.
He's got his name on a lot of shit. in
Dude,
Philly.
yeah, he's got enough stuff. He don't need the Electric Factory.
Right. All
Even
right.
though it was named after him. I mean, it was like the Electric Factory did have Ben Franklin, like his like.
But it's not the same.
Anyway,
All right, Dave. What about you? What you been doing this week?
so I want to hang on. I'm still typing out the notes for my week.
He can't multitask. Jesus Christ.
Um,
You're about to talk about them. You can stop typing them and just say them.
you say that, however, memory not good.
Okay.
Yeah, grad school's hard. It's the material's like super awesome, like, and it's really challenging, but it's really interesting.
Right.
So I've learned more about how the brain works and how you form memories and what happens in your brain when you form memories and like how those connections are actually made and
No
like,
shit.
oh God, dude, it's fucking amazing.
Now, why does an aviation guy need to take a class where you're learning all about the inner workings of the human brain?
Well, it's like anything else, right? Why did we as avionics people have to learn how a circuit worked, right? If you understand how a circuit works, then you can easier troubleshoot something because you know how the underlying system works. So if I'm going in, it's a master's in human factors, right? So if I'm working on a system where I'm working at human machine interface and I'm looking at something like, okay, I know that this is how the human brain is going to process this information.
Mm-hmm.
And at what speed it's going to do. What are you going to retain? If I like flash this information in front of you, how much of that information you're going to retain? What color does that have to be? You know, how many microseconds does it have to be displayed? Shit like that. That's important information to know as you're designing these features. And that's
Okay.
part of what we're doing. Like it's this, it's that background piece to designing a better system. And that's kind of what the human factors ergonomics part of it is. So it's super interesting, but it's I really did not understand how much work it was going to be. So yeah, I'm actually taking a day off from work so I have like a 10-page paper to write tomorrow. And then
It's due tomorrow, or you have to write it
no,
tomorrow?
it's due this week, but I'm going to write it tomorrow, and
Alright.
then have another 3.5-4 page paper due at the end of the week, along with the discussion board and all that stuff.
Oof.
And then so that's all this week, and then next week it's the last week of the semester. So after that, I have a little bit of a breather. But yeah, I'll tell you, it's fucking.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
It's
fun.
been a swift kick in the dick. It's definitely interesting, and it's for what it's been doing to me mentally. It's engaging. Like, it's not bullshit material. I'm not doing it just to do it,
Right.
which was so much of your bachelor's degree, right? You do so much bullshit, where you're taking classes that you're never gonna fucking.
I don't have a bachelor's either.
But you've taken classes
Yes,
before.
I've
You've
taken college classes.
You've taken college classes that just this doesn't mean anything. Like, and you're taking it just to take it, or you have to, I need this credit to fill this.
Well,
fucking
that
degree.
lesbian dance theory class really was important and to help me understand things.
Yeah, well, obviously, but
You're a better man than I. That's all I gotta say.
I don't know about that. But
Indeed.
anyway, so yeah, grad school is hard, kids. That's just that's the takeaway for that.
So don't go to college.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story.
Moral of the story:
Yeah.
school sucks. Drop out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get a job. We need carpenters.
Yeah.
Get a job as a carpenter, electrician, or a nurse.
Yeah.
We need these jobs too.
And you should see how much these fuckers charge for a new roof on a house.
Yeah. Well,
So
Facts.
building materials are expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a roof put on during the pandemic. Yeah, it was fucking expensive. Yeah. Anyway, the fucking weather this past weekend. Speaking of roofs, dude, this past the week, like, I don't even remember what the week was like, just because of like fucking work and everything else. And then like you get into the weekend, you're like, oh man, like the weekend's usually when I can sneak out and actually like enjoy the day a little bit
Not be miserable.
and not be fucking miserable. Nope, fucking let's dump 3 inches of fucking rain. Like, let's fill the Jeep up. I'm like in there with a bailing bucket, fucking oh my
Yeah.
god, I can't even.
And it was cold and just
Yeah, cold. It's gonna be cold.
Dude,
It's gonna be wet.
I was legit angry at the weather.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Like,
I
you
was
know
too.
how, like, you used to get angry at your happy light.
Yeah.
Like, I was like legit angry because I'm like, I need some fucking sunlight.
mm-hmm.
Like, I need
Yeah.
to go outside and be in the fresh air and just enjoy fucking nature.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was walking around going, it's May. It's May. It's
rain.
the middle of fucking May.
Yep.
And it's this
know,
cold
I
fucking
get,
rain.
April showers, okay, but it's fucking May. You can knock that shit off now.
Yeah. Flowers. Go ahead. Flowers. You got plenty of water. I mean, it is saving what I'd be watering on the fucking grass you had to put down. So okay.
I guess.
But
yeah.
fuck. Yeah, it just was so shitty. So thankfully today it was like better. It was better for what I saw of it. That looks nice. What is it? Is there rain in there?
Saturday, you were talking about like the weekends, man.
Thunderstorms. That's not 60%.
Except for this coming weekend?
Yeah, but it's 70 fucking degrees. Like, if it's going to be 70 degrees and it's going to rain, I mean, that's fine. At least you can be outside and you don't have to fucking... Dude, so for Mother's Day, we went to the Phillies game, right? Because I have that's the Sunday season tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to the game, and I had fucking long johns on. I fucking had long johns on going to a goddamn baseball game in May.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. This in an Eagles game in November, December. Yes, long johns, absolutely. Not
Makes
for a
sense.
fucking baseball game in May. It's fucking ridiculous.
They're called the Boys of Summer for a reason.
Yeah. And what they won the first game, like there was a doubleheader, and they won the first game. Hooray!
Yeah.
And then we
Did
left.
you stay for both?
No, I couldn't. I had a fucking paper to write. So yeah, they lost the second game. They got blown out. So we left at a good time. But yeah, it was fucking cold, and you could see like way out in the horizon, like you could see like, hey, look, there's like blue sky out there somewhere. Like it's just off in the horizon. It was almost like a mirage. Like
It's fucking teasing you.
yeah, it's like it's out there. There's sun. Look, it's sunny out there. Then of course, as soon as I came in, like got back from the game and go down to start working on a paper, like these trickles of sunshine fucking show up. I can see him out the window. I'm like, fuck you.
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of holidays that Jason loves, like Mother's Day. Jason loves Mother's Day. It's his favorite holiday. I think
Yes.
Mother's Day and Valentine's Day are his like favorite holidays.
Yeah, let's celebrate Hallmark making all this free money that
Yeah.
they get to print
Yeah, I mean look at
for no effort.
right. Something's got to keep the florist in business.
Yeah, I guess.
So anyway, Cinco de Mayo,
See,
3PO. We went to yeah. So we saw Nick on Cinco de Mayo, and I had asked him if they're doing anything. He's like, no, it's a fucking fake holiday.
It's not a real thing. Okay, so I'm married to a Mexican.
yeah,
So everybody just assumes that Cinco de Mayo is just this big Mexican thing. No, no. There's like one area of Mexico that celebrates Cinco de Mayo. Nobody else in Mexico gives a fuck about it. It's something that Americans have just taken upon themselves as an excuse to drink.
Right.
That's all it is.
and eat tacos.
Yes.
Right. Drink, eat, have tequila, and eat tacos. Right.
Yeah.
So what Cinco de Mayo for us has turned into is look at that fucker. Look at him right there.
Oh, wow.
Son of a bitch. You can't kill him. Fucking
No.
stink bug
Flick that bitch.
staring at me. What am I gonna do? Flick him right at Jason? If I could somehow flick him into Jason's
Flick him
camera,
into the corner up there.
flick him into Jason's camera. Hang on.
Now he's crawling down.
Wait, Jason.
This is again exclusive for the YouTube audience.
Ready?
Oh,
Not looking.
Where'd it go?
I don't know.
I think I saw it fly
It
this way.
shot over his head and then it disappeared.
Again, exclusive for the YouTube audience.
Anyway.
Dave flicking a stink bug.
Distracted by the fucking squirrel. Yeah, so Cinco de Mayo has Kathy and I go and have dinner with John and his wife Jacqueline up at their house. That's kind of like a Cinco de Mayo thing.
Okay.
It's just it's like that one. All right, here one holiday, air quote, a year that we'll go up there and see his daughter, who's a fucking a pistol, fucking great. But one of the things that we were bullshitting, and I was kind of telling him about how I'm going through all this stuff with my my mom's dad, like trying to track down like the units he was in and stuff like that, because I'm making that trip to England. Well, he got this box of stuff. It was like from his aunt's house, who she had just sold her house, and they were moving a bunch of stuff out, and they were going to throw out this box. It said like Carl's Army papers, right? And Carl was his grandfather, and they were going to throw it out. And his mom was like, well, no, maybe John will want this, right? So they kept it, and it turns out it's full of all this like super cool fucking shit from World War II.
Yeah.
Oh, like Deutschmarks, like newspapers, like letters. He was a prison guard in, I think he was stationed in France. Like he was a POW camp guard. Like he worked as a, I think he was a clerk in the camp.
Yeah.
So like his records were like pristine. So he wasn't like out in the shit where like his records would get crapped.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things they had was a fucking this red pamphlet. It was about this big, right? And it said it was your guide to the your guide to your Soviet, or your guide to your red shit. I didn't take a picture of it because I'm an asshole. Your guide to your red ally, right?
Okay.
Basically, it's like a guide to like interacting with the Soviet.
Right, because
Right.
we were allies for a
Right.
period of time.
And
back
it was
then.
the pamphlet was red and had this star and fucking sickle on it. And when you thumb through it, and it's got like all their uniforms and what their rank structure is and shit like
no
that. It's like
shit.
something you would get for fucking if you were like working with the Afghans or Iraqis.
Yeah, so for our soldiers to like familiarize themselves with their uniforms
Right.
and their ranks and all that.
Right, except
Wow.
it was for the fucking Soviet. And it was pristine fucking condition. Wow. So one of the other things that fucking was in there, and I'm going to do a quick share screen because I think this is so fucking cool. And I mean, look, I'm a giant nerd, and I know this. Why is it not? Oh, window. Where did it go? I don't know. Why won't it do that?
Lost it.
Where'd it go?
I find your lack of preparation disturbing.
But I had it all set up. I mean, I showed it to Nick. So I don't know. Let's see. I just want to zoom in so the YouTube audience can see it a little bit better. But this is a copy of the New York Herald Tribune from December 8th, 1941.
Damn.
And it was basically the whole newspaper from the day after Pearl Harbor.
They bombed the Philippines and Guam too when they bombed Hawaii?
Well, remember in like the way that the news traveled,
Oh, a little bit slower.
they didn't know exactly what had happened. I mean, when they talk about the casualty count, like in this article, they're talking about casualties in the hundreds, like as opposed to the thousands like that we know of. Like, what was it like? Was it 2,600 something?
Sounds about
that
right.
died in Pearl Harbor, something like that. Sorry, my World War II is rusty, but like his grandfather had written like handwritten things on there, like talking about steel stocks and what their value was. Cotton was up, wheat was up, corn, like talking about like what the market was doing.
Yeah.
You know, during this time. And then on the other side was like the votes, like what how the House and the Senate voted.
For like
war.
declaration of war. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
That's
such
wild.
an amazing snapshot into the day after the day that will live in infamy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other interesting thing was we talk about what happened with the Japanese in the United States, and this is the day after LaGuardia puts cities' defenses on war footing, bids Japanese stay at home as FBI starts roundup, tells people to be alert. So this is the Mayor LaGuardia of New York is basically getting the Japanese nationals and are like, all right, where are they? And we're going to start fucking keeping tabs on them after this act of war. So it's such a fucking crazy snapshot. And this thing is in great condition for something that's fucking as old as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in this box. Fold, you know, you can see it
Stuff that they were about to throw away.
They're just trying to throw this piece of history into the fucking trash.
Oof,
not even to look at it. So just really, really cool stuff. And there was, I'm not even going to get into the rest of the cool trinkets and shit that were in there, but so yeah, it was a good fun visit with the John. He's behind. I think he's probably behind about 5 episodes of the pod. Just it's
He's a
really
busy
funny.
guy. I know.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll suddenly get a text from him catching up to a particular segment of the pod, and I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And
It's like that was a month and a half ago.
like, bitch.
Dude, I have that same thing where, and I think I told you about this, where I don't always get to watch live, so like I'll be watching it again, like, you know, a day or two later, and I'll be sitting there doing work, and I'll have it playing, and you guys will say something, and I'll be like, let me get in the fuck. I'm not live. I can't get in the chat and comment on anything. Pisses me off. I'm like, I gotta start watching live so I can actually comment on shit.
God damn
That's
it.
hilarious.
Yeah. So last thing, close out my week. Where's Ivo? So he can give me shit. Want to say congratulations to my wife, Kathleen, who on Wednesday she's walking for her graduation
Oh, sweet.
for her degree. So I took off from work. Hopefully it's going to be a nice day. I didn't look at the forecast, but
Wednesday's supposed to be nice.
so it'll be perfect day. She's been working crazy hard. She's graduating with honors, and she's already getting ready for the next step into the next degree. So
What is wrong with you two? Why do you do this to yourselves?
You know what it is? Our kids are old.
Yeah.
So something happens, I guess, when your kids are older, and then it like this other part.
Oh, and you're like, well, what do I do now?
I know. It's like just like, well, I guess we're going to go back to school. What else? Like, we don't have kids in school anymore, so now we're going to school.
And they're not even at home anymore.
No.
So
So-
yeah, all right. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. But hey, if for nothing else, and I think my wife would say this, it's if you have a goal, like getting her degree has always been one of her goals. Like, we started our family young. We had obviously we're in the military, and all of those things. Crackle.
Yes, somebody's got some crackling going on, but
Crackle. It's that fucking stink bug starting to chew the wires.
it's like I'll show you, motherfuckers.
Flick me.
There's again.
Squirrel. I think it's Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only one without the new cable now. So
Interesting. Anyway, if you have a goal, never really give up on it. Like, keep trying to work towards it.
what if my goal is to give up on everything
Yes.
and just like sit around and do nothing?
Well, keep working towards it.
All right, that's
Because you're not doing a good job at it. Because
I
the
know.
podcast is something.
true, and so is working for a living.
Right.
So-
Exactly. So you're doing a shitty job at fucking or getting to your goal.
I'll try harder.
Yeah. But yeah. That's all I got.
All right, very good. So, does anybody need a break before we get into our main topic? No?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, let's talk some Tool then. Again, Patreon selected topic. We put the call out there for a music episode. I think there was some shenanigans going on. I think there was a coordinated effort by some of our patrons to get this particular topic selected, but
I think there was some browbeating happening, but I mean, this is
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it may incriminate me.
fair enough. But at the end of the day, yeah, we landed on Tool, and man, interesting stuff, because we'll lay the groundwork right now. Me, as we alluded to, I have, before this topic came up, I had almost no exposure to Tool, and we'll get into it when we talk about our history with them. So you're going to get the perspective of me, who I knew 2 Tool songs, and I only knew the title of one of them before we started doing this. So I had to like really drown myself in all things Tool over the last couple of weeks. Whereas I know, Nick, you're very well versed, and then Dave, I would imagine you've got
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
extensive knowledge.
yeah.
So
Extensive is relative, but yeah, I've listened to the entirety of their catalog. For
well,
sure.
I have now too. So so we're on the same footing, is what you're saying. We're exactly the same.
Yes,
Okay.
we'll go with that.
Fair enough. So let's talk about some history. For me, my first exposure to Tool came with the single for Sober, when the Undertow album was released. Because as I've mentioned multiple times on the show, most of my exposure to music was either through MTV or through the one local rock station that we had in Bakersfield, California. So I believe it was the video for Sober that we were first exposed to. Real interesting stop motion music video.
Yeah.
Lyrics were completely different from the album version, obviously censored for television. And I think I caught a first sound of it from a friend of mine owned the album. So I heard the full song in its album entirety, and I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. My best friend at the time, he bought their album Undertow, and we listened to it a couple of times. Sober was the only song that really kind of stuck out at the time because I knew the single. And this is kind of what I experienced in the beginning as I was trying to like absorb all of this. If you go into it, and just try to have it like as background music, doing other things and not really paying attention and like fully engrossing yourself in it, you miss a lot. And it does kind of sound very similar across the whole spectrum of songs.
Yeah, you had actually made a comment. I don't know if it was via text or
yeah,
whatever.
when we were texting in our group chat with Kelly, Luna Girl, and I even said like I've listened to 3 albums and I feel like I've listened to the same song 36 times.
Right. Yeah, and you're right. If you're not paying attention, it can sound like that.
Yeah.
I think we gave you a like, okay, here's kind of like the apogee of some of their albums to give you a much better variety of their sound.
Yeah.
And then by getting to those wave tops, I think it gets you able to better understand the other music.
Yeah, and it did help, and that's exactly what happened. I listened to your playlist that you sent me, listened to some of the other listener selected songs because Kelly put out some polls on social media.
Polls. See what I mean? You see it, right?
I laughed because I knew what you were thinking.
But anyway, yeah, I started like pinpointing certain songs, and then it helped me as I was re-listening to the albums again, like better absorb it and better understand it. So yeah, but it's funny because when I was first listening to everything, and I was just like, I was listening to it on my commute a lot, right? I'd throw on one of the albums, throw on my AirPods, and I'd just be driving, like ducking in and out of traffic, cursing the fucking Pennsylvania drivers, which I was behind 2 slow-ass Pennsylvania drivers today on the way home.
Listen here, front plater.
Far left lane, going slower than everybody else on the fucking road.
Front platers talking about bad drivers.
But anyway, there was one point where I'm driving and I'm kind of listening as I'm paying attention and like fucking cursing these other people on the road. And then I'm like, have I been listening to crickets for the last 7 minutes? What the hell is going on? Because there's moments, and we'll get into it when we start breaking this down a little more. Just some very unique things that they do with their music and these interludes and intermissions. Right. But anyway, we'll save that. So besides like that first exposure to Sober, the only other like song that I knew was the song Schism. And the only reason I knew that is because an old friend of mine from active duty Air Force, I met him back in 1996. He was also a big Tool fan. His name's Jeremy. And
not anal guy.
No, different guy. This guy I used to play a lot of online video games with. He and I played EverQuest together back in the day. And he was part of a guild called Schism. And he's like, oh, I named the guild. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's Schism. I'm like, what is that? He's like, oh, it's like a religious insurrection or something like that. He's like, it's the Tool song. I'm like, what Tool song? He's like, the Tool song Schism. He's like, I told them that they should name the guild this and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it was this whole big thing, but that's the only other Tool song that I'm familiar with because of this guy who named his guild after the song. So
okay,
yeah. So that was pretty much my history with Tool before last month. So what about you, Nick?
So when Tool first came, when the Opiate EP first came out, I was still in the midst of the grunge thing, big Nirvana head.
Yeah, 92, 93. Yep.
And so I honestly, my first exposure to Tool was after I joined the military in 95. I got through basic training and I got to tech school, and my roommate, it was just weird that like my roommate actually was a guitar player as well.
Oh, nice.
So like we had music in common, and he started playing the Undertow album, and Sober was like that. Like you were saying, that song on that album just like stuck out and grabbed me. And that was my first exposure to the band at that point. And Undertow had been out for like, I want to say probably a year or two at that point.
Yeah, it came out in mid 93.
Yeah, so yeah, like 2 years or so. And then like, I started listening to that album, there was other good stuff on that album as well. Prison Sex was a good one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, they had this EP beforehand, so I went out and found that one. Really, when I really dove deep into them though, was when Anima came out, and I just,
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Anima.
Yeah.
Anima?
I even have that in the notes.
I always go with enema.
Yeah.
Anima.
Well, like you say, like enema, like the thing you stick up your ass, but
Yeah.
I think about like anima, like the magic, like anima.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I go with this thing you stick up your ass.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so when that album came out, like I dove headfirst into that album. What was next? Next was Lateralus, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another one that I was really into. 10,000 Days, not as much. Like I listened to that album, and like there's one or two songs that like kind of stand out to me, but for the most part, it's a very just stock Tool kind of album to me. Like you're saying, you could interchange songs, and you know, it's just there wasn't as much that reached out and grabbed me on that one. And then we had that big, huge gap.
Right, like 15 years of no album.
Yeah, between 10,000 Days and Fear Inoculum. And that album was fucking phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
love it. Several songs on there stand out, and you know
we'll talk about it as we
later.
kind of go through their history and everything. But all right.
Yeah, so it started with Sober, and then Anima was like the real, like when I really dove into them.
Okay, ever see him in concert?
Recently, yes, the first time with Dave and Lord Helmet
Oh,
Fire.
that was the one show that you guys went to.
Yep.
And it was one of those where, so I've reached this point, and honestly, it's exclamation mark, based on recent events. I reached a point where I'm not putting off seeing bands anymore,
right.
because I've had too many experiences where I was like, I'll catch them next time, and there's not a next time.
Right.
Tool, I thought was going to be one of those because they were doing their kind of like what a lot of people were saying was going to be their farewell thing. And then COVID hit, and I was like, fuck, I'm never going to get to see them again. And then luckily they're like, hey, when COVID kind of eased up a little bit, they're like, let's finish what we started. And I was like, I'm going. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm going to this show. I don't care how much it costs. It was pricey, but I was like, I'm going. But and again, this hit me again with Foo Fighters. I had tickets to see Foo Fighters for the first time this summer, and then Taylor Hawkins passed. I don't know that we'll ever get another Foo Fighters show again. So like I've had this happen several times throughout my life where I was like, I just took for granted that there was going to be a next time.
Right.
So I've reached a point where I'm like, I'm not going to do that anymore. If there's a band anywhere near me that I want to see, I'm going to go see them. And this was one of those instances where I was like, I'm going to this show. I don't care what. And it was totally worth it. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
Okay,
honestly, like this was, I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't want to necessarily go to a lot of shows unless I really want to see that band live. And this was one of those bands because I heard from so many people like about kind of like how I mentioned about U2, how like there was this show that was being put on, even though like the album that U2 was basically playing in their show, like the performance they put on was fucking phenomenal. The Tool show, holy fuck, dude, was visually and audioly, think of a word like that, but it was like just like stimulating at a level that I didn't
like if you had an enema,
like if I had an enema, make my butthole twitch. I was really taken aback a little bit by how I was not prepared for the musical experience I was going to have with Tool. Like at that show, right? Because like you said, Tool is a very ethereal, like music. Like if you're sitting there and you're listening to it, like it's okay. I'm gonna get into this, and like I had said to you, is like you gotta kind of watch it, like, and if you're going through Apple Music, kind of listen to it and then watch the words go by, so you kind of understand what's going on. Because
we're gonna get into that too.
I didn't do that till much later on, and there was a couple like recently when I was looking. And because of Apple Music and I had the words going, I'm like, that's what they're fucking saying? Yeah. Like, I never even understood what they were saying until fucking looking at it. And it gave a whole new meaning to what they were doing.
Yeah. So before we get into those kind of details, what about you and your history, Dave?
So my first exposure was Sober. Like, it was the video for Sober. And it's kind of the same thing. It was so different. Like, it was such a different sound. And honestly, like, to me, like, that sound, that band is almost a different band from what we get from Fear Inoculum. It's an interesting sound. It's definitely not my favorite Tool sound, but it was one of those where it's like, okay, we're gonna grab you, but that visualization, like what you're getting in that video, they've maintained that throughout. Like everything that they're going to put out visually, like, you know,
very dark, very
Helmet Fire has a vast collection of the Tool artwork that's out there. He has the original albums. He'd actually just texted me some of the CDs with the original artwork on it.
Was it the phallic wrench? Was that one of them?
I don't know. Let me look. The one with looks like somebody's head's up their ass, and the other one, I can't describe it. That one looks like eyes that are in the shape of a saw.
Interesting.
But anyway, so that was the mainstream introduction to it, and then it really kind of fell off the radar after that, and became like, okay, here's a hit that would come out, like just kind of hear it, like, oh, that's Tool.
So you're talking like after Undertow?
After Undertow, like Prison Sex. I heard Prison Sex, and then I heard off the Enema album. I legit, I'm not lying. I did not know that's how it was pronounced.
We're just going with Enema at this
Yeah.
point. Just do it.
But that album, like listening to it, that was probably my favorite sound experience to date with what Tool was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it fell off my radar until I got in the squadron I'm in now, and meeting Nick and meeting Vickers, who are both into Tool, and then Fear Inoculum came out, so it kind of like it reinvigorated like this music that had just been kind of in the background for me, and made me go back into like, all right, here, let me go back into my playlists of what I enjoyed, and reopened a lot of this stuff. And yeah, it's getting the opportunity to go see them fucking live. That is, I agree with you. I think with any show right now these days, like if you really, really want to go see somebody, you need to make it a point to go see them.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything. You get another pandemic, somebody could pass away. Anything could happen.
Yep. So we talk about their style, and that's something that in all the research that I've done, nobody can really kind of pinpoint.
It's hard to put a name on it.
One guy was quoted as saying they're the thinking person's metal band, but they're a fusion of metal, alternative rock, fucking progressive rock.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I'm listening to them, I'm trying to like formulate some sort of a way to describe their music, and it's almost impossible.
They are their own animal.
Yeah. It's like they're close enough to like the roots of like hard rock and metal to where you could kind of classify them as a hard rock metal band, but they are not like formulaic at all when it comes to like by the numbers stuff. They do their own thing.
They're very prog. In like the time signature, they very rarely do a standard 4/4 time signature.
Oh, hell no.
They're very odd time signatures, and a lot of times even just multiple time signatures within the same song. Like they'll change. And like Danny Carey he's the greatest drummer alive on the planet. Like the dude is phenomenal. Like if you want a visual of what it looks like to be the very best at something on the entire planet Earth, go to YouTube and search for Numa Danny Carey drum cam and just watch that. And that is the epitome of like, this is the greatest drummer alive on the planet right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people will argue there's been like other, Neil Peart and, so, but I'm not going to make that argument. Different times, but alive on the planet today, there's nobody better than Danny Carey. The dude is a machine. He's 60 years old and still up there kicking ass, doing stuff that's just, like an average person watching him play. I don't know, maybe it's not that impressive, but like I started out as a drummer. So I don't consider myself a drummer by any means, but I started out as a drummer.
You're familiar with.
I know my drum rudiments and all these things. So like I watch him and I know what he's doing and how hard it is to do some of those things. It's insane, man.
Yeah.
The dude he's not human.
Yeah. Now, when they were first starting, he was one of the guys that was part of Green Jello, right? Wasn't it him and Maynard that were in the group? Because as I was doing my research on this, I had no idea that a couple of these guys came from Green Jello. That we talked about them when we talked, I think it was the music of '92, the Three Little Pig song.
Yeah.
Not part of hair of my chinny chin chin. Which apparently the pig voices was the lead singer of Tool, Maynard. James Keenan.
You're James Keenan.
Like he was that guy that did the voice of the fucking pigs is the lead singer of this band, and
Which, thinking about it right now doesn't surprise me at all.
no,
Like,
he's
honestly.
he's an eclectic.
He's an interesting cat.
He
Yeah.
is. He as I was doing my research, I found he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple of times. Like he was on it once in 2012, I think, like peddling some fucking wine. He was like owned a winery, and then again a couple years ago, talking about like politics and stuff. So he's a very unique guy.
Yeah.
And the thing that really kind of struck me is like to me, he seems like the epitome of an actual artist. You get a lot of rock bands, especially like some of these excess rock bands from the 80s. It was just all about like churning out the hits and just like fucking singing about girls and all this and just doing the by the number stuff, where he seems to really care about the art of the music that
they're
they
very,
make.
and that's what like another like description of Tool that I see a lot is art rock.
Yeah.
Because especially if you go see them live, like the visuals is such a big part of the show. So it's not just the music, it's the time with the art and the visuals, and they're very like even with the shows, like you go to a Tool show and there's signs everywhere. No recording, no pictures.
Oh, really?
Oh,
They,
yeah, it was super
they will
strict.
not let you pull your cameras out until the last song of the show, or the last song of the show. They'll finally, and even at that point, Maynard will give you shit for doing it. He's like, everybody can take out your fucking phones and
Yeah.
record this shit.
I remember you saying something
Yeah.
about that when you
Yeah.
came on the show.
So
the next
they
day.
want you to experience it rather than be like staring at your screen.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's true. Like you go to a lot of shows nowadays, and that's what you see. You see everybody with their phones up, and it's like, dude, watch the fucking show. I mean, and I'm guilty of it too. I've done it, but I try to, like, I'll record little snippets here and there, but for the most part, I try to just kind of be in the moment and experience the show.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it was phenomenal to just sit down and enjoy the music, because
Yeah.
I bet you I would have found myself recording
Yeah.
so much of that show because of the visuals.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, I want to be able to see this again,
Yeah.
and to just no, I'm just going to absorb it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
And another nice thing though is like you don't have to, like, especially if you're back further, you don't have to be staring at someone else's hands up in the air with
Yeah.
their phone blocking your view of the stage. Everybody is just in the moment watching the show. It's cool.
Well, the good news is too that, like, for our viewing experience, like Helmet Fire had gotten us. We were on the floor, right, which is another reason why it was a little pricey. But we were on the floor, and I was talking about like the sound, the fidelity of the sound was the best I had ever encountered in a concert
Yeah.
by far. Like the audio, when I talk about the audio experience at that show, it was a quality that I just was not expecting. Because usually you get it's either overmodulated or undermodulated. Like it's like you can't really, you're not getting just like a studio sound, right? And I'm not an audiophile, and I'm not a musician, right? I'm just a fucking guy, just random white guy, right? And for me, I want to hear it like I hear it when I'm playing it in my car. And when we went to that show, and Numa comes on, and I'm like, this sounds like the best fucking version of this I've ever heard in my car. And now, and you're getting
And
like
combine that with the visuals.
the visuals, and then the intensity of the fucking bass that is coming directly from fucking Danny Carey's feet. Like, and the bass was just going through you. Like at that point, it was just like, holy shit. And I honestly, like, when we get to our top 5, that was one of the things that, like, that song would not have been in my top 10 until we went to that fucking show. Like, but having that experience fucking elevated it to whatever it may be in my fucking list, if it's in my list.
Right.
But
Right.
if big if.
Okay. So, kind of going down a little bit of the history of the band, I mentioned that a couple of the members came from Green Jello. They met a couple of other guys who were. One guy was like actually trying to make it in Hollywood, in like art production, and these guys had very unique backgrounds. Maynard apparently was redesigning pet stores, because he was like a design specialist or an art specialist. So very unique backgrounds from all these guys, and they somehow ended up coming together by happenstance and very quickly got signed. Like, I guess Maynard's voice was really really took people like by surprise, like how good his voice was. And they quickly got a record deal, and they released the Opiate EP in '92,
Right.
which that really started to get the LA buzz around, because like every fucking band that tried to make it in the 80s and 90s, they were all in LA, right? And they formed up in LA. They released the EP, and a lot of talk right away about how good these guys were, and very quickly turned it around into their first full studio album, which was Undertow, which Dave, you and I mentioned that's when we were first exposed to them,
Right.
and Nick, you said that like though you went back and got the Opiate EP after the fact, or listened to it after the fact, Undertow was still where you were first introduced to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently they were good friends with Bill Hicks, comedian Bill
Yeah.
Hicks. Like somehow came across him after they released Opiate, and kind of befriended him, and even dedicated the third album, Enema.
And they use part of his bit in the song, the title track, where he's talking about learn to swim, see you down in Arizona Bay. Basically, it was this bit he was doing about how California would like earthquake and it would fall off the plant, and Arizona would be beachfront property.
Right.
So-
Right.
and that was the reference to his bit there, was the see you down in Arizona Bay.
Yeah. So apparently a good friend of the band, and I guess it hit him pretty hard when he died, and I think it was 94.
94.
Hold on. Ah, fuck. Oh yeah.
94.
I know things. And the only lineup change that they had in the whole band's history happened during this time was after the release of Undertow. Their bassist, Paul D'Amour, left the band. They got the new bassist, and that's been the core band ever since. So, from the mid '90s on, which you don't really see that too often these days. Even like bands like Metallica and whoever.
Well, Metallica they don't like their bassists anyway.
Clearly, yeah. They crushed one with a bus, and then they fired one, and
Shit.
yeah.
But
Sad
yeah,
face.
honestly, Log, I think probably a part of their longevity as far as keeping the same play is there's been a lot of downtime. Like
Yeah.
they haven't been one of those bands that's constantly touring that, maybe they spend too much time together and get sick of each other.
Right.
There's been such big gaps in between albums and stuff. Even like Maynard went off and did A Perfect Circle, and Danny Carey, and I think Danny Carey and Adam Jones, the guitar player, I can't remember what they had some other side project they were working on, but I can't. Maynard's Perfect Circle is the bigger of the side projects.
Yeah.
But they've kind of stepped away, did something else, and then they come back to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the key to keeping that core group together, was just
Get the hell away from each other for a while.
maybe step away for a little bit. Sometimes for too long, in the case of in between 10,000 Days and Fear Inoculum. But
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it could be argued that like for most of us now, we get into our 40s, late 30s and early 40s, and we're like all of a sudden this, like when the Buzz came out with the new Tool album, we're like, oh, yeah, this could be interesting. Like finally, we're gonna get something new out of these guys, and
well, it had been talked about for years. Oh yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it.
yeah, sure they are. Meanwhile, I mean, Perfect Circle was actually a pretty serviceable band.
Yeah,
I mean, Judith
good.
was a top hit.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You're giving me that look like I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? I don't even know.
Yeah. So getting back to Enema, sorry. They released a video for the song Stinkfist on MTV, which immediately got censored. Apparently the title was too risque. So yeah, I think MTV changed it to like the first track or something like that.
Stinky
Yeah,
Fist.
track one, yeah. And they even had to censor some of the lyrics in the video. So no shortness of controversy for that album. And I know they in the previous album Undertow, they got a lot of lot of flack for some of the lyrics of their songs, Prison Sex
Prison
being
Sex,
one of them.
yeah.
You know, apparently it was about child abuse.
child abuse,
and
yep.
it's like, oof, yeah. And then you, like, even you look at the lyrics for Sober, and it's, you know, about a guy trying to get over addiction, or maybe just can't get over addiction. And it's like, why can't we drink forever? And yeah, it's.
What fascinates me, like, and this is where these little nuances of, like, as you listen to Tool more and more often, like that little extra bit in the beginning of Prison Sex where you have on the guitar just making that noise, like, where you could just imagine the fucking butthole being fucking ripped open.
See, and I kind of envision it as like the door kind of opening, the creaking of the.
No, that's not what that
Yeah,
is.
okay.
I mean, am I wrong? That's
I can see a point both ways.
that is immediately that is what I thought of. Like, you know, the title of the song is Prison Sex, and it opens with this like screeching sound, like it's like something's being torn open, like your fucking butthole, because you're a fucking rapist, you fuckhead.
Wow, well, this just got dark, just like a Tool song.
re-listen to that shit, and then fucking tell me what you think it is.
Yeah. 2001. So we have like 5-year gaps here, from Anima to Lateralis. It's released in 2001. Apparently they did this whole ruse where they released like a fake album title and a bunch of fake song tracks, and the stuff started quote unquote leaking on Napster. Because again, this is 2001. This is when Napster was fucking huge, and I may or may not have acquired a lot of music on Napster back in the day.
That's not a real thing. Napster, LimeWire,
Kazaa was the big one.
terrible, awful places.
Yeah. But
Doing such illegal things.
but yeah, apparently like all of these track releases were all a ruse, which kind of comes into play a couple more times as they're like teasing albums or whatnot. And then eventually it was like a whole separate album, a whole different album titles from these alleged leaks on Napster, which weren't ended up not being real. But then you fast forward again another 5 years to the 10,000 Days album, and apparently that one was leaked for real a couple weeks in advance before the fucking album launched, which
Fuck
that's
your
gotta
fake
suck.
leaks. There it is.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta imagine from a band's perspective, especially somebody like Tool who really takes their music seriously and treats it as art, you know, having it leaked fucking 2 weeks early on one of these file sharing sites has got to be frustrating as fuck.
Yep.
I would imagine. But yeah, 10,000 Days. Going back to both Lateralis and 10,000 Days, I think I might have one song from one of them in my top 5, but is like anything stick out from those albums that
10,000 Days, honestly, the only song off of 10,000 Days that really kind of stood out to me at all was Vicarious. Everything else, like I said, it's stock Tool. It's kind of what you expect from Tool, but nothing that really like reached out and grabbed me. Like I said, Vicarious would be the one that kind of sticks out in my brain.
See, Vicarious, Zombie, The Pot. I think, like you said, they're kind of stock Tool, but
yeah, The Pot I know is that's a fairly popular one amongst the ether. In doing my research, a lot of people like that song.
and it was great live,
Yeah.
and it was because it was a part of the Philly set list. They did that, and it was really cool to hear live. So there may be one of those songs on my top list.
All right.
10,000 Days is probably my least favorite album. Not that I don't like it, but just if I were to rack and stack, 10,000 Days would be at the bottom for me.
Okay. And then, of course, we had the 13-year gap between 10,000 Days and Fear Inoculum. One of the reasons why they said that it was delayed so much was legal battles.
They had some lawsuits going on.
Yeah, because I know they're the first Zoo Entertainment, I think, the first record label that they signed with, they like went out of business.
Yeah,
and
some other company bought them.
yeah, and then there was a big rift between Tool and that new company, and like a lot of legal battles, and then I guess more that came after that. So
Yeah, I remember when
And
that
then
was.
they
going
also
on.
had a legal battle with I think it was their manager. They let their manager go, and then he sued them for like some kind of compensation or blah blah blah. So they had a lot of legal stuff going on.
Okay. Oh, and to take a step back real quick, I forgot to mention also that the 10,000 Days was their first album without producer David Betrill since Undertow. So he had been working on all of their albums. Apparently, a pretty popular producer, but maybe that was one of the reasons why 10,000 Days was a little subpar. I don't know. But then, so Fear Inoculum, and for you, Nick, you seemed like that was kind of like back to good Tool.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's times where I really have to be kind of in the mood or in the right headspace to listen to Tool, because to really sometimes to really get into the what's going on in all these songs, because they got a lot of really long songs. They got a lot of kind of epic. So it's almost I don't want to say it this way because it sounds bad, but it's almost you almost have to work at listening to this band sometimes.
Dude, 100%. That's exactly what I've been experiencing as I've been trying to absorb these. Because again, you can't just put it on and then go fucking, do dishes or something.
No, because it gets lost in the background.
Yeah.
So you really have to concentrate sometimes to listen to the songs and listen to all the things that are going on with it to really appreciate what they're doing.
Yes. And honestly, I think a few of these albums we could probably further break down in individual episodes of the show,
easily
break down the individual albums and the flow and everything going on in them, because there's so much going on, so much that you could dissect.
Yeah.
Vickers had actually showed me for 46 and 2. He showed me the it was I can't remember the name of he's in the chat, so he'll probably correct me, but it was the old composer breaks down different songs from various artists, and not just Tool, but the Metallica songs and stuff like that too. But he did 46 and 2, and the guy breaks it down as a composer would. And those things that you're talking about with the different metrics and how the music actually okay, here's what they did in this stanza, and then how much it changes from this to this, and how fucking different that is. And what, being perfectly honest, if I'm listening, I'll go on a streak where I'll listen to Tool nonstop for 3 days. And after 3 days, it's almost I gotta unplug from Tool.
So you're a bit of a musician. I'm sure you understand.
I'm familiar with music and the process of music. Yeah.
I'm sure you understand a little bit of, at least a little bit about time signature. So your standard 4/4, it's 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4. So that 1 2 3, that's what you call the one or the downbeat. I challenge any normal person that's not fucking Danny Carey or some classical composer to tell me where the one is on almost any Tool song. There are a few that they do kind of a standard 4/4 time signature, but most songs tell me where the one is. And it's funny because you go to the Tool concert and you see people bobbing their heads, and then they're because it's so easy to get lost in these time signatures because they're so odd.
Yeah.
And they change. So you'd be going and be yeah. Wait. Okay. All right. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Yeah. Because you get all these tempo changes and just they're doing so many different things, and then you'll get interludes in the middle of songs. Either you'll just get into a long solo, a guitar solo or something, or just long breaks of almost silence, but not quite silence. And yeah, there's so much going on. And again, I feel if we ever really wanted to get more granular with this, we could break down individual albums. And I think, albums like Anima, for one, would be one that you could probably dig pretty deep into, and Fear Inoculum.
Fear Inoculum for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, you were talking about, epically long, not long in a bad way, just long orchestrations of music.
And you get these a lot of these longer kind of epic songs, you get these kind of recurring themes where it'll start, it kind of builds a little bit. You start getting, you get this theme going, and then it'll change into something else, and then like you'll hear it come back to that other thing again. So like, and it by the end of it, it comes around full circle.
And I can tell you at least one song from my top 5 is that exact formula. So, and then, so before I had mentioned how they would kind of do like these teasers or like these kind of fake outs for album announcements and whatnot. I guess, so earlier this year, they released a recording of Opiate.
Opiate, yeah.
Just March of this year.
Twice as long as the original.
Yeah. Which, of course, why not?
Cool.
But I guess when they were teasing that, a lot of people didn't believe them, or they thought it was actually going to be something else, just because of all the shenanigans they've pulled in the past, as far as like kind of faking people out and all that. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I actually just listened to that new version of Opiate like 20 minutes before you guys showed up in the studio today.
It's in that set list that I sent you. That playlist I sent you is one of that version of Opiate should be in there.
That new version on? Okay.
Opiate Squared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as like albums go, do you guys have a favorite album per se?
I mean, in terms of like sheer number of songs that I really like get into, it would be Anima for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Dude. Just of my
Although-
limited experience, it seems like there's a lot going on in that
Yeah.
one.
Although like Fear Inoculum has got some heavy hitters on it. Like, it's a phenomenal album.
Yeah, it's a really good album. And Fear Inoculum, I had to grow into. I think I had to like mature into it a little bit. It's
I think my first listen to it, like again, it's Tool. You gotta work at it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So my first listen through it, I was just like, okay, I was like, we've been waiting 15 years for this, huh?
yeah.
But
Right.
then I was like, I'm gonna listen to it a few more times.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
you have to.
But then it's like, wait, this is Tool. What the fuck was I expecting?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, God, that's right.
But-
This is this band.
So when I really
listen
started to
again.
like deep dive into it, I was like, this is really good. Like Numa, Descending, like God, these songs are so good, and just the whole, Tool's one of those bands where, so most bands, the drummer is the timekeeper.
Yep.
Uh,
Danny Carey is not the time. He's another instrument in that band. Like yes. I mean, in the basic sense of it, he is the timekeeper, and dude's a human metronome. But he adds so much more than just timekeeping to this band, and like each person, Maynard's vocals, Adam Jones, everybody adds such a unique flavor to this band. Like the bass is not like a lot of bands. Bass is just like, oh, follow what the guitar player's doing kind of thing. No, he's doing his own thing, and without him, it's not Tool. Without Maynard, it's not Tool. Like, you could not replace these guys with just an average bass player,
Right.
drummer, guitar player. Like, doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, it definitely wouldn't. Like, even especially if they are anything in studio like they were live and how they play off of each other, there's no way.
They're never playing the same thing. Like, the guitar player is doing one thing, the bass player is doing something totally different. The drums are just, Danny Carey's doing his octopus thing,
But it all flows.
And
it all.
Yeah.
it comes together.
And then
Yeah.
Maynard's over here,
And he's over there.
Then he's over there,
over there.
then he's over here,
And then he's behind the drum set, handing Danny Carey a dildo to hit the gong with.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're not following, is it Danny Carey's Instagram page or is it the setup guy? I think it's either the guy who sets up his drums, his Instagram page, or it's Danny Carey's Instagram page. But either way, like there's these like backstage things, like little tidbits that you get, and it's Danny Carey talking about like certain things that he's doing on the drums. I'm sure drummers, like there's probably not a drummer in the world that's not watching what he does on Instagram, just because he talks very technical about some of the things that he's doing with the drums. Like things as small as like what he's wearing on his feet, like to be able to do some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that video of Maynard coming back there with the fucking dildo.
Because
that was
like
on there.
if you ever seen the live setup, he's first of all, he's surrounded by drums. Like he's got his normal kit. He's got like electronic pads on each side of him, and then like behind him, he's got this huge gong.
Nice.
And he actually uses it. Like, this is like one of those phenomenal things where he's like sitting there in the middle of a song, he's playing, and then he'll reach down in the middle of playing, not stopping. He just, in the middle of playing, he reaches down, grabs a mallet, and hits this gong, and then drops it, picks up the drumstick, and keeps
just
going.
Keeps going, like, doesn't even miss a beat.
Yeah. Well, there was this one thing, like Maynard goes back there, and instead of the mallet, he hands him this big dildo, and he grabs it, bong.
It's
Nice.
great. And what's funny too is like, especially after seeing the show, Maynard disappears.
Yeah.
Like they'll be doing it part of the instrumental.
Well,
and
yeah, they have fucking 8-minute solos in there. It's a good time for him to go take a break, get some water, you know?
you'll see him like off side stage over here, and then like he'll disappear for a while. You're like, oh, I wonder where he went. And then he's up there. It's almost like they had perfect COVID spacing because they were never, like you said, they were segmented even when they were on stage. Yeah. Like it's like, okay, he's over here doing this thing. Like, okay, now I'm going to be over here. Then I'm going to do the keyboard. Okay, cool. I got that going on. And then Maynard floats around, does everything else. You know, vocally anyway.
All right, so
Joe Slabby is the guy for Instagram, the drum tech.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Helmet Fire.
Well, I'm sure everybody's really looking forward to hearing some songs, some specific song discussions.
Yeah.
So why don't we hop into our top 5 list?
Yeah. And just for edification, I've requested Helmet Fire and Lunar Girl to give us top 5s as well.
Oh, sweet.
So we can either do those interspingled without spingled? Spingled. Spingled?
Yeah, that's a word.
Or we could just intersperse them with what we're doing, or we could do it at the end.
That's a word.
How do you want to do? Yes.
Well, how are they going to get them to us?
I have them.
Oh, okay.
I have them. I had
Well,
them
okay.
text them to me.
Well, why don't we? I'll start. I'll do my 5, Nick's 5, your 5, and then you do their 5, and then we'll work back around. You start with their 4, your 4, Nick's 4, my 4, and then just go back and forth. So
Just
you'll.
tell me when I'm supposed to talk, Jason.
All right.
just do that.
Okay, so real quick, I want to address something that Luna Girl asked in the chat, specifically directed to me. You said, oh, fuck. She said, you now appreciate Tool, but do you like them? Yes, I actually do. I get it. I mean, I've always been a big hard rock, heavy metal fan anyway. Just, again, it's one of those things where Tool was just sort of like over here while I'm operating over here, and there was never just the coming together. And like, these are the types of albums that I want to listen to. I want to like turn the fucking lights off, put on some like big headphones, crank up the fucking volume, just close my eyes and just like lay in a recliner or something and just listen to it and absorb. And
You know, something that's like, so we're military guys, right? We're guys with security clearances and, you know, not drug users.
yeah.
I can imagine that
Oh yeah, if you had that enhancement, it's probably
that experience has to be that much more. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the one time where I wish, like, man, I bet you this would be really, really good if I had some sort of, you know,
stimulation.
Not, I mean, I don't think alcohol is the right one. Like, you can't get liquored up and do this. I don't think,
alcohol's for something like Dark Side of the Moon, where it's like, yeah, man. Oh,
I don't know.
I think Dark Side of the Moon could be some other stuff too.
well, that is true. All right, bad example, but all right. So let's start talking about some top 5. I know we've also got a shitload of honorable mentions. So
Facts.
so I wanted to first start this off again. Remember, I kind of like tried to absorb all of these songs as a whole in a very short period of time. So unlike a lot of like hardcore Tool fans, I was not introduced to this stuff sequentially. Like I listened to some of it out of order. Like I think I listened to a lot of the Fear Inoculum songs before I ever went back and listened to some of the earlier stuff. So keep that in mind. Also, I did not plan this at all. I just like went with the 5 songs that, you know, really kind of caught me. I listened to them deeper and deeper to do my ordering, but each one of my songs is from a different album. And again, that was not on purpose. That's just kind of the way it worked out. So, starting with my number 5 from, Enema, Hooker with a Penis.
Nice.
It shows that the band, like, even though they've got some real fucking deep, serious themes in a lot of their songs. We talked about prison sex and things like that.
Right.
Hooker with a Penis, at least title wise, shows that they have a bit of a sense of humor, even though the song, I guess, like digging deeper into the lyrics, a lot of it's about like giving a fuck you to the fans who like said, "Oh, you sold out,"
Yeah,
so
it's about that
Yep.
particular kid,
Yep.
and that's one of those songs where like until I actually saw the music roll by, this is like that prime example of like I had no idea that it was about this. Like saw this boy wearing Vans 501s, new tattoos, nipple rings. Like he's basically describing this person who's obviously describes himself as an OG fan,
right.
from back in '92, but is like displayed as like as somebody who's brand new
Poser,
to the
yeah.
fucking scene. So,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
So he's a poser, and then just proceeds to fucking trash him
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the thing. And like even the undertone of the song, like was like asshole, like as in the in betweens, like it is a great like just go fuck yourself song.
Yeah, and I mean, like every band who's made it big has gotten that at some point. Like, how many
Who's
times
sold
has
out?
fucking
Metallica
Metallica
sold
been,
out, yeah.
like, fuck, like that seems to be like 90% of their career is somebody saying like, oh, you haven't been the same since,
Right.
whatever album. So, yeah, it's a nice retort
Yeah.
to that kind of a fan.
Before you
so.
point your finger, that you know that I'm the man.
Yeah. So, and I gotta say too, just as a little add-on to this, I love the two fucking tracks that come after it. You got the intermission track, which is that fucking kooky organ that plays, and then the song Jimmy that follows that. But like, I feel like these three kind of like back to back to back are it's a very unique sound, and it's very interesting. And
That does bring up a point. Like if you're listening to this in a shuffle,
you're not gonna get that
Yeah,
effect.
it's weird.
you have to like parable and parabola.
Yeah.
Like those two really need to be listened to back to back because of the way it kind of sequences itself into there.
Yeah.
So if you're a noob, a Tool noob, not in a bad way necessarily, but hey, just something you want to get into, highly recommend starting and listening to the album in its entirety because the way that they've put the music to the album has a certain flow to it you're getting a better music experience by listening to it in order as opposed to just putting your fucking iPod on shuffle.
Right, and you can basically make that intermission track as one of my honorable mentions because it's so weird and it's like so out of place when you compare it to the rest, but at the same time it works, it flows.
So I wonder if we took that intermission bit and put it like and had it to be able to play like while we're taking a piss. Like if that would actually pop up on YouTube as being like
Probably, because I think it's all algorithms and they just have like all these files saved and they can just cross-reference, and that would be fucking phenomenal though if we could do that.
that's a heady file we should play it in reverse or something.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, so that was my number 5. Nick, what do you got?
So, kind of on the same line as you, I was originally intentionally gonna pick one from each album, from each studio release.
Sure.
Opiate notwithstanding, because it was EP.
Yeah.
But as I said with earlier, like 10,000 Days it's just not one of my favorite albums, and there's so many other songs like we were talking about earlier. I have my top 5, and then I have 9 songs that are honorable mention, and of those 14 songs, like I could have interchanged them all over the place.
Right.
So like nailing down a top 5 it was difficult for me. Originally it was going to be one from each album. 10,000 Days got left off my top 5.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is from the only album on my list that has 2 entries, and it is Descending from Fear Inoculum.
Okay.
I had listened to the album several times. There was a few songs that kind of, like I said, like really started to kind of stand out to me, and I would like dig into them a little bit. But honestly, this song really hit me with Vickers when he did that video.
Yeah.
The Casey he did he basically put together this compilation of a bunch of KC-10s flying around, refueling aircraft, and he set it to that song.
It was a deployment video that he did.
Okay.
And he was deployed when Fear Inoculum came out. So he used that song in his deployment video. And that's honestly, I think that was the first time I heard that song, like really in that context, was in that video.
Sweet.
So even when I hear it now, that's what I think about.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. But like that's again, it's one of those songs where it's got it starts off. Well, I mean, first of all, there's like a minute of just like wind.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Because it's Tool, and that's
then
what they do.
you get that slow build. And again, like I said, like you get that kind of recurring theme where like, the guitar is playing this melody that later on in the song is going to come back and kind of tie back together. And just, I think the combination of listening to the song and like all these different elements and then like that video and it again, it just kind of, it made me see it in a different light when he put that video together. I'm like, damn, that is a really freaking good song. And like, I went back and I dove back into it again. And yeah, that said, definitely, I mean, obviously top 5, but one of the best songs on that whole album. And it honestly not, was it even released as a single? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I know
I think it was
Fear Inoculum was, and Numa was. I don't know if that one was released as a single or not.
I feel like that was on that
7.
playlist that you sent me also.
Might have been.
Yeah,
Here,
Descending.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I thought 7, the one with the 7.
oh, Tempest.
Tempest,
Yeah,
yeah.
Tempest was yeah.
Tempest was a one that was out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
All right.
Descending.
That's a good one. All right, Dave. What do you got?
My number 5 is off of Fear Inoculum also, and it's Invincible.
Okay.
And this is Descending and Invincible kind of duked it out for my number 5 position. Descending because of that video that he's talking about. It's the same thing. Makes me think about flying.
Yeah.
Invincible is kind of the same song, like very melodically similar, but has abrupt differences. Like, I'll make a comparison that's probably, it's something very specific to me, but like Rhapsody in Blue, right, by George Gershwin. Like, if you're familiar with the piece, there's like these orchestral pieces that are very horn intensive and woodwind intensive, and then you have the piano, and then it goes back to the horn, and it's like very, okay, it's low here, and then it goes up and it comes down. Invincible kind of does the same thing. It's 12 minutes long, and and Rhapsody in Blue is about 15 minutes long, and it goes and has these ups and downs, and there's some repeating things in it that just, for me, because I'm not a musician, there's some things that when I like it, I just want to hear it again, and Tool gives me that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Get that little
yeah,
yes,
there it is again.
is.
There it is again. Yes, like,
No,
and
that's-
so
I'm a musician and I get that same thing.
yeah, so it's like, oh man, I like, and then I got to hear it again, and so Invincible I managed to get that from that, and honestly, I'll save that statement for later in the list, but
Okay.
yeah, that was, like, again, there's so many others deserving mention, and Descending deserved a spot on there, if for nothing else, because of the video that Vickers put together.
Okay. Now this is the point where you tell us Vickers and Luna Girls 5.
So Vickers didn't number order them, so I'm just going to use the last one in this list he gave me, and it's Descending.
Oh, well, there you go.
Mainly due to deployment video use. So there you go.
All right.
For the same reasons.
Well done.
And for Kelly, it was Stinkfist.
Okay.
It was her number 5.
It's a good tune.
Yep.
Good tune.
Yep, for sure. All right. And then their number 4s.
All right, so Kelly's number 4 is 46 and 2.
Okay.
Another good song.
Another
Quality.
really good song. We may hear that one again.
Mm-hmm.
Vickers is Wings for Marie and 10,000 Days in Conjunction hits on a deep level for him.
Okay.
Um,
So he did find something in 10,000 Days that.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of good things. But yeah, that's, I can see that. There is, like, sometimes things just hit on an emotional level.
Yeah.
With those.
And I'll be the first to admit that I like songs that somebody would listen to and be like, "Why do you like that?"
Right.
You know, it's just
So my number 4 is Enema, and it's because it's a fuck you to California.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's so. This is again my 4 and 5. There was a wrestling match, even on the drive in, like to get here. Like when I was getting into traffic on Route 7, like coming where Route 70 and 73 meet 295, and they're slowing down. I started like making changes to my 4 and 5 because I was like, man, I really. So I would like play it. I'd play a song that I was going to make it to the list or maybe make honorable mention, and I go through that. And I'm like, okay, and play the next one. And I'm like, man, just like that one's better. Like it was a fight right to the end. But yeah, Enema, or how was it supposed to be pronounced?
Anima.
I like my pronunciation better.
right.
Enema it's one of those. It's just a fuck you to California.
Dude, okay, so I have the lyrics here.
All
and
right.
just this line, man, it's just classic, man. Bullshit 3-ring circus sideshow of freaks. Here in this hopeless fucking hole we call LA. The only way to fix it is to flush it all away. Any fucking time, any fucking day. Learn to swim. I'll see you down in Arizona Bay.
Yeah.
If that ain't the biggest fuck you.
Yeah, because even though they all lived in California and lived in LA when they formed as a band,
Yeah.
I think they were all from like different parts of the country, like Michigan and
it-
some.
Well, and that was out of necessity, right? Because just like they say in in Hooker with a Penis, like, yeah, they sold their souls to make this record that you will buy.
And that's where you went
Yep. You had
to
go
make it.
You had to go do it.
And just some of the other where they're basically just saying like how much they fucking hate the average LA fucking
Yeah.
people, like fret for your figure, fret for your latte, your lawsuit, your hairpiece, your Prozac, your pilot, your contract, your car, like just all these things that they just fucking hate, and just like the whole song is just ripping on these people.
Yep. And,
Sounds about right.
And I like the this aspect of when they say, mother, when they're talking about like mother will basically what's the line, mother will make it better.
So
I got to sing it in my head.
Hmm.
I don't want to like sing it because we know my singing voice is so perfect that we would get flagged for all the copyright,
Probably.
all the copyright stuff.
He
so
sounds just like him.
we don't want to do that.
fuck these dysfunctional, insecure actresses.
But where it's basically talking about how Mother Nature will fucking cure basically this plague.
Mom, please
Right.
flush it all away.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the lyrics and honestly, it's a good song. And I'm not like you're talking about stock Tool songs,
Mom's gonna fix it all soon. Mom's coming around to put it back the way it ought to be.
right? That's not, California notwithstanding. I mean, I think that's just it's kind of a line that I don't know. I just think it's one of those. As much as they're being funny about shitting on California, or whatever, I think that's has a much broader meaning
Oh, sure.
than that. Whether they intended or not. Yeah, that's it. It's and oh no, I was gonna say, these stock Tool songs that are, it's relatively short. But it's a good, metal song. The guitar work and everything else, and throw some fucking lyrics in there, like listening to an Anthrax song. It's like,
All right.
yeah, you're gonna get a laugh out of it too.
All right, Nick, we're up to your number 4.
All right, so my number 4, this is one of the ones I really struggle with because I had 3 songs that I could have put here off of Lateralis. I ended up going with Schism. Just, I don't know, man. Like I said, there's several songs on that album. The title track, The Grudge, another great song off that album. But I don't know, something about that song, the Schism. It's just, I don't know.
It's one of their more well-known songs,
Yeah,
too.
it is.
So,
But yeah, it's hard to say because, like I said, like all 3 of those songs any one of them could have been up there because, like I said, I was trying to keep it to one per album. I broke that rule with 10,000 Days. I didn't put that on there, but yeah, I went with Schism.
Now, interesting thing about Schism, because I know it was such a popular song of theirs. I listened to it a couple of times as I was doing my research, and it never really grabbed me. It's maybe I gotta keep peeling at that onion, but as of right now, it was nowhere on my radar at all for any of these top 5. So just from an outsider's perspective, again, just thought I'd throw that out there. But my number 4 from Fear Inoculum is Numa.
Nice.
12-minute song. So apparently Numa is like a Greek word for like a soul or a spirit, and a lot of the theme of the song is kind of like, either kind of finding some sort of spirituality, not like religious per se, but more just like within the universe kind of thing, and just awesome fucking song, just all together. Just
Oh yeah, it is.
the instruments, and just again 12 minutes long, and you get traditional Tool length, and the changes in between, and
It's one of those songs, like I said before, like hearing it live, like, and getting the full experience of it was just phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it was the best song of that show.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I sent you the lineup, and there was some good songs on that
yeah.
show for sure. But that right there was the piece de resistance.
Yeah, and as we go along, I'm listening to all these songs at once and trying to absorb it. This was one of the ones that immediately stuck out as like, that's a song that's definitely going to go on my top 5. Just immediately, because the songs in this top 5, with one exception, were like right away I knew that, okay, this is probably going to have a place in my top 5. Just there's something about it, being very catchy, or just some sort of strong, like imagery or audio imagery, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
That grabbed me.
Trust us.
So moving on to my number 3, from the Opiate EP, the song Opiate. It's very unique. It's obviously their early songs are much more straightforward, kind of classic, well, not classic rock, but heavy metal, rock, alt rock, whatever.
It doesn't sound very Tool-y.
No, not at all. But you listen to the lyrics, and it's very like comparing like religion to fucking drug addiction, and they make a lot of analogies there.
Well, it's basically that quote. I forget. I don't remember where it's from, but how religion is the opiate of the masses.
Yeah.
That's kind of the flavor of that song.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, good song, good flow. Just again, very classic-y, just like heavy metal, kind of hard rock
Didn't
type
Caesar
of song.
say that? Is that a Julius Caesar quote?
Was opiate a thing back in the days of Caesar?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. But so from Opiate is the song Opiate. Is my number 3. So swinging back around.
Hang on, let me pull my list up again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're on to number 3. Okay, so number 3, going back to where it started for me, is Sober from Undertow. To this day, if that song comes on, I'm listening to it. Like, there's no skipping that song. I used to do that song at karaoke. Like,
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
That's I've for the longest time I've wanted to make like a heavy metal, death metal version of that song.
Oh yeah.
I haven't gotten around to it. But one of these days I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and it's got one of the catchiest riffs if you're really into hard rock. Fucking da-da, da-da.
And it's just like very bass driven.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, great song. That's the song that introduced me to Tool, so that's my number 3.
All right, very good. Dave.
My number 3 is another one off of the stock Tool list, is Jambi or Jambi or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is I'm going to put this on when I need to wake the fuck up. Right? I'm in the car, I'm kind of like in zombie mode, pulling off a 295, trying to drive through Columbus, and I need something that's just going to fucking wake me up. And just the beginning of that track, like it just has that intensity that I really like. And again, it's it's under that same ilk of a little bit more stock song. It doesn't have all this artistic element that a lot of these other songs do, but it's just a really good fucking metal song. And I just every time, this is for me, that's an unskippable song. Like my top two are top two, like those top two are fucking top two, like untouchable top twos at this point. But Zombie is one of those where it's like, okay, if I'm skipping to songs that I need to hear at that particular moment, then I'm not skipping this one.
And which album was that from again?
This is from Enema,
Okay.
right?
No, that's
Or that's 10,000
that's
days.
10,000 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
10,000 days. Sorry. But yeah, it's just a really good hard song.
All right. Sweet. All right. So we're up to Vickers and Lunar Girls.
All right,
Threes.
so Lunar Girls number 3 is Sober.
All right.
So
Great minds think alike.
Seems to
yeah.
be a recurring theme.
there you go. And for Vickers, his number 3 is Parable paired with Parabola.
Okay.
Which again, that's when we're saying if you're going to listen to that album, make sure you're listening to it in order because it one definitely feeds off the other. And fuck if that's one of those where when you're listening to it and everything's just so soft and it seems so quiet, like what am I listening to here?
Yeah.
Like is there something wrong with my speakers? Like did I fucking hit the volume or something?
Well, that was the point where I'm listening to I think it was Undertow, like towards the end. You got nothing but like crickets for like fucking 6 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was you.
That's
Oh.
me buzzing.
So like and then you get to that that bit at the end before it goes into Parabola and it's like and it gets like super loud
Yeah.
at the end, like kind of zips into the next song. That's fucking perfect because a lot of Tool songs you need like a hard stop in between it. Like something I noticed from the concert.
Yeah, because otherwise you can't tell if it goes from one song to another.
yeah, and it's very deliberate.
Dude, Tool, if they wanted to, Tool could play a show from start to finish and never stop and just flow from one song into another song
Sure.
into another. You could have an 80-minute long song essentially if
Especially
they
off of-
really wanted to.
Especially if you're knocking them.
Yeah.
Like you very easily do that. But I noticed that when you're watching them live, it's a very when they finished a song, that song was finished. And it's kind of like when you're listening to it on a CD player, like that track was over. Now we're going to the next track. But with this particular grouping with Parable and Parabola, it doesn't. It's and then right into the next one. So that's his number 3. So we're going number 2s.
Yep.
All right, Vickers number 2 is Numa, the live performance.
He specified the live version.
The live performance.
Okay.
For reasons that I think we're all fucking hinting around, and I'll get to here in a minute. For Kelly, her number 2 is Vicarious. Did somebody say Vicarious yet?
Not me.
No.
I mentioned Vicarious when we were talking about 10,000 days.
All right, so I'm not losing my. Somebody said the word Vicarious.
Yes.
And so that brings to my number 2, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
my
your
number
number
2.
two.
My number 2 is Numa. And we've been talking about it, right? This that fucking live performance, it would have never cracked my top 10, let alone my top 5 or into the top 2 songs that I will not skip through.
Right.
Because it is the embodiment of an experience. I'll put it to you this way. So I'm doing all this grad school shit with the fucking brain and how it like things are encoded in your memory, right? And the visualizations that were happening for the show encoded themselves in my brain in such a way that when I hear the beginning of the song, I am seeing the visualization.
You're there again at the concert.
And seeing the waves of just the visualization. And when that song started, I was sitting down, right? And I was like initially, because you're standing through this whole thing, and sometimes it has lulls. So and we had regular seats, so I was like sitting down, just kind of listening to it, and then I just kind of had to stand up because the way the bass started to hit, and I was just like, oh man, like what is happening right now? It's almost like I was drawn up out of my chair, to get this experience. And then the biggest takeaway was how the bass hit me. I don't remember every bass hit, just like, and how intense it was with the visualizations. And so when I'm listening to it in the car, that bass can't be fucking, it can't hit hard enough compared to how that was. And there's such amazing transitions in the song. It gives me those things, those repeatable things that I want to like. Oh, I love that. I want to hear that again. Oh, there it is again. Like it gives you those things, and it's a longer song. You get, and even when you're like anticipating, like, okay, I know this part's coming up. It's like, yeah, it's coming. Yeah. Even as much as I listen to it right now, because honestly, even since the concert, like I'm listening to Tool every day, like especially in the morning, unless I'm in like a mood where I have to have, I'm either going to play my Tool Essentials playlist, which I shared with you, or my heavy playlist,
Slipknot,
which is fucking, it's got a lot of fucking Slipknot and fucking Pantera,
right?
Slayer, like that type of, like Metallica is the softest thing in that fucking playlist. I'll put it to you that way. And some mornings I just need that. So yeah, Numa is just it was fucking awesome, and again, that live experience just made it that much better.
Okay, all right, very good. Nick, number 2.
My number 2 is also Numa.
All right.
For reasons we've all talked about. The live experience of that song was phenomenal, but
you guys are really making me regret not seeing that show now. It's like, fuck,
but,
it sounds incredible.
Even before that, like I said, watching that Danny Carey drum cam video, just the song in general, it's just such a phenomenal song. And like, again, with like the odd time signatures, he's playing some weird like 11/8 fucking time signature, and it changed. Like he'll play like 6 measures at this and then 2 measures at this, and then it's so fucking weird. But then you bust into this 4/4 section in like the chorus or pre-chorus, the
Right.
And it just, when that hits, it's just like
Yeah, and he's doing that drum sequence, and he's playing like, it sounds like, I don't know. It's just like a different percussion.
Yeah.
Like it's
he plays
he's
so
playing
many
so many different little elements that, especially like, again, if I didn't mention it before, Vickers kind of had told me, when we were talking the other day, like we kind of espouse the virtues of a lossless Apple Music thing. You wouldn't know anything about that.
fuck Apple.
But
Wow, he goes right the fuck Apple.
Dude, he's anti-Apple.
Okay.
But for the lossless, like,
I can mute his mic for the rest of the show.
you
be
don't
loud.
if you're Bluetoothing, you're not getting the audio quality, so you're not getting the lossless experience if you're Bluetoothing.
Okay.
So I was like, well, fuck. So I immediately fucking plugged the fucking car up so that I was getting, direct sound out of the phone into the car, and it did make a difference. It
Really?
100% did.
Huh.
It elevated the sound quality considerably. So especially for the past 3-4 days of me listening has been like just that much. It was intense before. It just like,
Because you're doing it over Bluetooth.
no, because I'm not doing it over Bluetooth.
Because you're a
going-
direct connect.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're listening to this music, you should be plugged directly into your car, folks.
Yeah, I do everything on my AirPods. Like even when I'm driving, I do AirPods. So I don't know if
well,
that's
it's
any
'cause
better or
you're
worse.
driving
It's an older car.
An older car.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right. My number 2. We've already talked about this quite a bit. Sober from Undertow. I mean, it's just like, fuck. What a deep song when you really look at the lyrics and you're like, eesh, dude battling addiction and just, yeah, it's pretty rough. So before we talk about my number 1, I just want to, again, caveat this with, I tried to listen to everything kind of at once, and on the very first listen through of all of the albums, one song just really kind of for some reason just stuck with me. It was mostly the music of it, not necessarily the lyrics and stuff I got into later, but something about it was just catchy enough to kind of keep me. And I think it's also in your playlist. And that song, my number 1, is The Grudge, the first track off of Lateralis.
Great tune.
Yeah, good song. Very, again, much like with Opiate, very straightforward kind of rock song. Far less the Tool sound than a lot of their other songs. Not that I'm like, disregarding those songs, because I think those songs are great. But just something about The Grudge just really kind of stuck out with me, and it's got that recurring element. It's almost like a different song sandwiched in between like two ends of a song, like, because it's got the kind of middle part that's a little bit different, and you get these solos, and good stuff though. And in doing my research, I found this one person who had written like an entire college paper about the meaning of the lyrics for this, and like really digging deep into
I believe it. I believe like any one of these, like you could probably some social psychological paper you could write about what's going on with these fucking lyrics.
Yeah, they wrote like this 10-page paper going super deep into the meaning of the lyrics and everything, and at the end of the day they came up with basically it's all about letting go of the past. Not holding a grudge, as opposed to holding grudges, and just kind of letting go. So it was good. And again, I like the song. It's a really like fun listen musically. So The Grudge was my number one.
Nice. I like it. Yeah. It's a good pick for a noob.
Yeah. So all right, moving on to Nick.
All right, my number one, and I don't know, it might be surprising, considering some of the other songs that are out there, but I went with my number one is Hooker with a Penis. Like,
nice.
Just that's again one of those songs where I will never skip it. When we hit the point in the concert where that song came on, that was the point in the show where I lost my voice. It's just that the idea of the middle finger to the posers that want to say, "Oh, you sold out," like. It kind of annoys me when people use that term a lot of times, like, "Oh, you sold out." Like it's like they expect this band to be around for 20, 30 years or whatever and never change. Like it's not realistic. I mean, people change.
And all the greats have done it.
Musicians change.
Yeah.
So like to expect the same thing from the new album that you had on the last, like why? Like why would you want to repeat of the same thing you already have? But I don't know, like I said, just that idea of like a middle finger to the people that are like calling them sellouts, because, like Sober kind of vaulted them more into the limelight, and like it was a more mainstream type song.
Sure.
So like they had a lot of those people like, "Oh, sellouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I just loved it, and like, just that, like some of the lyrics in the song, like, "All you know about me is what I've sold you."
Yep.
Yeah.
Dumb fuck, I sold out long before you ever heard my name. Sold my soul to make a record. And then
dipshit.
Yeah, at the end of the song, you get that like dun 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 dun, and the lyrics there is like, "All you read and wear or see and hear on TV is a product begging for your fat ass dirty dollar, so shut up and buy my new record."
Yep.
Send more money. Fuck you, buddy.
And it's like just it's a good song.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and it just
Maynard,
hits, man.
And Maynard had it like it's done through a megaphone.
Yeah.
Right. So like when he was on stage in Philly, like he was doing it through a megaphone.
Nice.
So he's like, so you don't even honestly I don't think you could hear him do the words as loudly as everyone else in the stadium was singing that fucking song. Yeah, it was nice. Definitely the cork came off of everyone that was just kind of going along with the music, and then everyone was now fucking fully encased in this.
And especially like at the very end, the "fuck you, buddy," like the whole damn arena is just screaming it.
Yeah,
it's
it was
great.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Number one.
We're not trying to rub it into your face, but I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, what can I say? Like it was a different time for me.
Yes.
So
well, I mean, shit. You also weren't working with the guy who fucking had said, "Oh, I bought these tickets. You guys want in?" We're like, "Yes,
yeah,
I absolutely do."
Yeah, it's 8 months in advance too.
Oh,
yeah. I think he did the pre-sale and got the floor seats.
Nice.
Before the regular sale stuff.
So all that anticipation.
And that's something else that we haven't really talked about is like just this massive following that they have. You know, this very massive, dedicated, almost cult-like following
Yeah.
that the band has.
The Tool
And-
Army.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yep.
Yeah. Of 40-year-olds.
Well, I mean, you know, that's kind of when they hit big.
Yeah.
So,
Look at us. Here we are.
mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get through.
Yeah, you're number one, and then, or do you want to do theirs and
We'll
then
do
yours?
theirs.
Okay.
So Vickers number one was Third Eye, the Salival version.
Okay.
Third Eye is one of the songs that it's one of those that I skip more often than not.
Honestly,
I'm
I
not-
would
I'm
have
not
to.
as into that song. in
I would have to
particular.
hear it to know which song it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
I'm getting under my third eye. Like that's the end of it. Like it's okay. It's not musically. I'm not into it. Now the Salival version could have some element to it that I'd be missing, but Vickers knows what he's talking about. So that also could have been his number 5.
Right, because he
didn't
didn't
number
label them, and you just made assumptions. Real quick, too, in the
Yes.
chat, Joker Voice mentions that his favorite song from Tool is 46 and 2. So,
Nice.
A great song.
yeah.
Kelly's number 1 song is Schism.
Okay.
There you go. And my number 1 song is 46 and 2.
There you
So
go.
See, I didn't go with that one, and that was kind of an odd one. Like I originally going into it, I assumed that was going to be on there, and then it wasn't.
this is like I don't know. This song is like a weird. It has like this weird like I don't know. It's kind of like when how when you're playing a video game and you kind of enter an area and a certain song like starts playing, and if you go into that area, I feel like 46 and 2 is that area that I'm going into where I need to like have like a certain amount of energy. Like I need to like you be ready for an encounter
Mhm.
type thing. And when you hear that first fucking strum, like exact that like if we're playing the game like okay what's this note, like I think even you not having listened to it that often would know 46 and 2.
Mhm.
Like I think there's all these highs and lows that are just fucking amazing. You can play it really really loud and it sounds fucking phenomenal. It has the repeating of stuff like hard elements that I really like, and it makes me feel good. it just does. I really really like the song, and I'll fucking blare it every goddamn time. I'll blare it at 7 a.m. and driving through fucking Columbus with my windows down. I don't give a fuck. Wake the fuck up, Columbus. It is time for you to listen to this goddamn song
Right.
again because I drive through every goddamn day. But you're going to listen to the song, and I just really it's in my, that song is in my top 10 of the all-time Dave songs.
Mhm.
That song is going to be there.
Sweet.
It is a must play.
Nice.
That's it.
All right.
Definitely on my honorable mention.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of honorable mentions, Nick, I know you've got a handful of them. So any you want to highlight?
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 9 songs listed here as honorable mentions.
Mhm.
Of those 9, 5 of them were off the Anima album.
Okay.
So you can tell where.
Oh yeah, even just like my limited listen throughs, Anima was by far the album that stuck out the most.
So
Like,
I had 46 and 2 on there. I had Stinkfist on there, Anima, H, and Eulogy.
okay.
Yeah, Eulogy's a really good one too.
Oh.
That one kind of bounced on and off on my list too because the idea that adding the element the chipping of your tombstone like that
Mhm.
having this visualization without having a visual. Like this is what Tool does. I'm providing you this visual
Like
of-
an anus getting stretched.
No, but that's
That's prison
not,
sex.
That's prison
Right,
sex.
right, no,
Which
I'm
is
just
also
saying, but
on my
again-
honorable mentions.
Right.
list.
But that is exactly what that's supposed to be. I'm telling you, fucking somebody get on the phone right now. But No, totally. Eulogy is on the list.
And then, like I said earlier, when I was talking about from Lateralis, The Grudge and Lateralis as well. Vicarious from 10,000 Days was on my honorable mention. Didn't make it in the top 5. Opiate, from Opiate.
Yeah.
Great, great one. But
Oh, something I forgot to mention when we were talking about Opiate is that sort of second song or that hidden track that's on
Maynard's
after.
Dick?
Yeah, where basically he's singing about two friends, one guy that drops acid and does some weird shit, one guy that does ecstasy and is like trying to like fucking hump all of his friends and hump his fucking couch and yeah.
It's like the crazy like trippy music playing.
Yeah. It's a very silly type song, but yeah. I totally forgot to mention that with the opiate part. So
I'm trying to remember the lyrics.
it's weird.
yeah.
And it's funny. Like I was reading. I don't remember where it was. It might have been on one of the wiki pages. That a couple DJs like actually played that song, but they called it like Maynard's Dream or something like that. But yeah, because obviously Maynard's Dick is not a suitable radio.
Right.
Well, that's one thing too. Like talking about some of these songs, like I listen to Turbo on Sirius XM, right? That's kind of like my go-to station, and they play a lot of Tool on there to their credit, and that's probably why I listen to them. And they also play a lot of Slipknot, and that's the music that they're playing is like this 90s 2000s, metal and hard rock.
Sure.
But like when they play, for example, Prison Sex, they don't play the beginning of it. They don't play that sound. They go right into it. And so I'm like, why don't you play that? Like, I wonder why. Because it's not a timing thing. It's fucking Sirius XM. It's like they're not like on a clock. Like, we're gonna have this radio, commercial that we're timing the fucking commercial this thing with.
A lot of that could have to do with like what version of the song the record company actually released to the.
Yeah, but they have all the other. I mean, it's uncensored. They have every other fucking thing.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Lunar Girl was saying in the chat that Dragon Buddy wants her to watch a few different Tool videos after this because she didn't have MTV growing up. Prepare yourself for some weird fucking shit.
Oh yeah.
Because their videos are trippy, man.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, and another thing too about going back to sort of how they really do treat their music as art is they intentionally don't put themselves in the videos because Maynard said it's not about us.
A lot of that weird like stop motion
Yeah.
kind of shit. Like, what's that fucking movie that like it reminds me of?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, he was like just out of reach of the mic, so it didn't quite pick him up.
Huh? Sorry.
Move closer. No, it went like
Yeah, you were like right at the border of where the mic was
I
picking
thought
you
I had
up.
a fucking stroke for a second. Like, what just happened?
No, it's God, what the fuck is that? Like fucking Pan's Labyrinth or some shit like that. Like,
Oh, yeah,
that's that kind of
the
shit
dude
that
with the fucking-
that's the shit that reminds me of Tool videos.
Yeah, fucking just super trippy
Yeah,
imagery
weird shit.
and
Yeah.
Fucking eyeballs and hands and
oh yeah.
Well, some of it too, like the album covers. I think it's the Lateralis album cover. It's got like the multiple faces. Is that the one? Hang on,
Might be.
Why guess when you have the internet?
Yeah, I was gonna say album art was one thing that I did not get a chance to put much time into. It was just trying to listen to as much of the music as I could.
Lateralis was the skinless dude. 10,000 Days.
Okay.
The 10,000 Days album cover reminds me of Angkor Wat. With the temples the temples of multiple faces.
the CD graphic for Anima was interesting. I don't know if you remember that one.
Well, that was the one I think they said Walmart censored.
Censored, yes.
Yeah. So
If you got the internet, you can look that one up.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
indeed. So, anything else before we close this out? Was a good conversation. There's again so much more we could have talked about, but I think we would need to have a more focused conversation on like an individual album or a set of songs or something because there's so many different directions you could go in with breaking this down.
No, for sure. And if you're listening to this right now and you haven't really delved into any Tool stuff, I think if you listen to our top fives, it'll give you a good idea of some good Tool music.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, listen to the top fives, and if you dig it, then dig deeper.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing about, I know earmuffs, Nick, Apple Music.
Fuck Apple.
All their albums are on there. So if you subscribe to Apple Music, you can listen to everything.
That's a crazy thing. You just reminded me of that. When Fear Inoculum came out,
Mhm.
that was like the first time that Tool's previous albums were available on streaming services.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Like they like kept them close to
Well,
the.
no, because the deal that they had with the record company was signed before streaming was really a thing.
Yeah.
So none of that was included in their deal.
Right.
So they just didn't release them on streaming.
Oh.
And then when that one came out, like they're like kind of like we're free of the contract. We can do what we want now.
Mhm.
That's when I never even realized it. Like, cause I had all the Tool albums just downloaded on my computer and I
Sure.
would just listen to them that way. But yeah, like I never even thought about it. I read that and I was like, holy shit. Like 2019 was the first time people could listen to Tool on streaming. And because that happened, all of their previous releases like charted again.
Right. Yeah, I believe it.
Because people could listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like my old iTunes playlists, right, that were in a couple of like an old iPod Nano that I plugged in.
Yeah, where you'd upload your own
Yeah.
albums and
It's from songs that I either got off of Napster or LimeWire or whatever, allegedly.
or had your own actual copies of the CDs that you could upload into your Apple
Or
library.
also, yes, because that would be the legal way to do it.
yes, yes.
It's like dribs and drabs of these albums. Like, so I'm uploading and looking at like, oh, select artist Tool, and there's only like 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so weird to even see that now.
Yeah.
Because, fuck, I go on my phone right now. I see all of it.
Yep.
Like, what do I want?
The whole catalog.
The whole fucking thing. Every single smacking fucking song, and you get it all.
Yeah,
It's fucking beautiful.
it's a good thing.
Times we live in.
I know,
Yeah.
we're so fucking spoiled,
Oh god, yeah.
but it's a good time to be alive. So next week we are continuing music topics because it was 20 years ago today. Talk about
that's next week.
yeah.
Oh shit,
Sgt. Pepper taught the band to play.
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked. I like. It's, this is Dave's surprised at what the fucking
Oh, that's what we're doing next week. Yes.
whatever
Yes.
next week's topic is. Like,
Yes. So we're
what you the listener probably knew before I did,
yeah.
or it was in there.
Well, at least Lunar Girl knew for sure.
Yes, she did.
But yeah, we're talking about the Beatles' classic album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You talk about when we talked about bands changing their style a little bit as they go along. This is a great fucking example of somebody taking a complete hard left turn and going in a like totally different direction.
You got to evolve, man.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about that next week. You got any more Red 5 stuff to talk about? Mom, can you read the Red 5? Read?
All right. Monday Night Positivity is contagious with the Red 5 Network. Are you okay over there? Jason, why'd you take him? You should tell him to take out his cockaball for a little bit. It's okay. Knock him around a little bit. It's okay. You got a big one. At 8 p.m. Eastern, after the weekend, we'll be giving a non-spoiler review of the Multiverse of Madness. At 9 p.m., Extra Techie will be streaming Fortnite gaming session on both Twitch and YouTube. Are you okay? Do you need to knock your cockaballs around just a little bit? Here, give me a carrot. What was I talking about? Okay, it's a Fortnite gaming session on both Twitch and YouTube. WSU Media goes live at 10 p.m. Eastern with Across the Universe. His voice is turned into something like kind of like the mama and then to something else too.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Across the Universe 10th anniversary at midnight on the East Coast joins S&P Late Night over on the Salty Nerd podcast. That's salty, just like a cockaboo. Just all, you gotta air them out, otherwise it's all sweaty. Knock them around. Just a little bit. Where they're reviewing the season finale of Amazon Prime series Outer Range. The Red 5 Network has 37 amazing podcasts in their family.
I'm 37?
From live streams to audio drops on your favorite podcasting app to knocking around your cock and balls and pre-recorded YouTube episodes and shorts. There's literally something for every personality. Browse through the bio.link/red5. That's bio.link/red5. Because that's what you do. That's you play with your cock and balls. Check out the daily promos or shoot Luna Girl a DM on any of our socials. She can suggest something you'll absolutely love that is perfect for you. Totally not kidding. It's weird switching. In the Cantina Family Happenings, the Used and Abused pod will be taking a few weeks off. You can get your Kim and Scott fix with past episodes on YouTube and audio. And hopefully Kim is continuing to feel better.
Yes.
Keep them in our thoughts.
On Wednesday, the ATSW and the Escape Pod will be giving us a spoiler-licious review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Look, it's Brady. He's playing with his cock and balls right there on the t-shirt. Look, see, he's got a big one. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Join Don Della Snooch, Brady, Big Lovin', you know it, and Dragon Buddy in their live chat at 7:05 p.m. Eastern on YouTube.
I just want to keep reading it.
It's Magic May, and the name it says. Join the meddling mage of magic, McDonald's. That's a hard one to say. So we're gonna not try that again. As he breaks down his decks. See, that's real close to dicks. It's his cock and balls. Does Keith have his cock and balls? For a little bit. Anyway, grab your Brady brand ice cream and tune into the Magic Madness and layman's terms on YouTube.
The Orange and Fett Show released episode 30, Mother's Day. Subscribe to them on Spotify to give it a listen and be notified of upcoming releases. Could you imagine a show where you had Hank Hill as the father?
And then this broad as the mother? It'd be like Archie Bunker. Almost, right? Isn't that how it was?
Pretty much.
It's just like, maybe not quite as bad with the cock and balls.
Hey, what's Big Swede doing? What do you got going on?
Oh yeah, he should read his own shit for once.
Not much. Like I said, working on that Foo Fighters tune for the quarantine sessions. Like I said, almost done. Just waiting on some video, and then I got to put everything together.
Sweet.
And then whenever we're ready to record our old school metal stuff, then that'll happen. But that's all I got.
We should get Nick to help us record the kazoo version of the Victory song.
Indeed.
Before we close down tonight.
You can find us at bio.link/the Sidebar Cantina, where you will find our links to YouTube, audio, Patreon, and our latest Spotify music mixtape, and all social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord, and TikTok cock and balls. Why is it so funny? It's just as funny. Also, in our bio link is our Team Public merch shop. We have t-shirts and hoodies in a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors.
We need fucking Wally Frogmore to make a like the character. Like, did he ever portray that character?
I don't think so.
Man, how do we get a visualization of that character?
Yeah, like it's.
I hope it's not me in a wig, because that would just be awful. Oh my god.
Oh,
Nobody would play with their cock and balls in that image. That'd be terrible. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the face masks and tote bags and phone cases, exclusive stickers and boots, just about anything you can imagine. Please tag us with your merch so Lunar Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews.
Oh, fuck.
Jason's gonna play with his cock and balls
Just gonna get on my phone.
for a little bit. Please write us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app or on our Facebook page. Screenshot it and DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter. Tell us what you love about the show. We will read your review word for word on our next episode. And maybe play with your cock and balls. Plus, Little Girl will send you swag. She hasn't thrown any swag at anyone in a few weeks and she will go through withdrawals. Don't do that. It's bad. We want to say, what? Oh, okay. We don't want to send a one-y Lunar Girl, do you? Do the right thing and play with your cock and balls. And that's it. That's all I have.
All right. Well, in the chat, Vickers made a pretty bold fucking statement that I had to highlight, saying that Tool is better than the Beatles.
I would agree with that statement.
Wow. So maybe we'll continue that conversation next week when we continue discussing music, when we talk about the Beatles, specifically Sgt. Pepper. And that's all I got. So thanks, Nick, for
I had
coming
something
out.
else, but I fucking forgot.
Yeah.
I wasted all my fucking oxygen.
Yeah, you used all your energy on Mom.
Playing with my cock and balls.
Getting old sucks.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know, then Dave got old like 8 years ago because his memory's been shit for
Yeah.
at least as long as we've been doing the show.
Right?
I think it's kind of a standard thing too. Like he mentions something that he forgot during the course of the show.
I remember what I was going to say. For our listeners for Spotify. So Spotify has a review button. There's like a little heart. So if you look at our, go to the Sidebar Cantina and Spotify, and then there's a heart up. I think it's right underneath the icon for the podcast itself. So if you click that, you can actually give us a review. So you could do like 5 hearts or 5 stars or whatever. So you can do that review, and those aggregate. So you can't actually give a review,
Like you can't actually type words, but
you can leave a 5 stars so that there's ratings for the podcast.
Okay.
To be able to base it on. So I went through all the Red 5 podcasts that are in Spotify and went in and gave them ratings with my personal account. So I would highly recommend that all of you do the same.
and
for
hopefully they
all
all
of
do
your-
that in kind as well.
That's right. All of your favorite podcasts, get out there and do the same. Go on Spotify and give them the little 5 stars, and you will do it.
All right.
Hang on. I got something
Oh, what do you got?
before we leave.
What's
Because
that?
I see that the escape pod is in the house.
Yes.
And I remember from the last episode that they were upset that you guys had Sweet Studios picks, and
Oh,
they
that's
did not
That's
have
right.
Sweet Studios picks. And I'd messaged Brady, but I'll say it here in a public forum here. I can absolutely send some picks out your way, but I seem to remember something about an escape crate.
Oh.
I don't know, it was like back in February, I think. And it's
We're in May now.
May?
It's gonna be May.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
Okay, so maybe if they make good with their promise,
hey,
you can
hey,
then. Okay.
Just
fair
saying.
enough.
No, I'm not saying nothing, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
saying.
So-
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
well, I'll just say to the escape pod guys, stop fucking up. Do your bit,
Do your bit.
and then maybe you'll get something in the mail.
Do your bit.
No promises. So, all right, that's it.
That is it.
So, thanks again, Nick, for coming on.
I have, I have to pee.
Yeah, Dave has to pee, so we're gonna go. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. I don't think we're doing any kind of after show or anything, are we?
No?
No. All right. So we'll end everything here. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for all the YouTube viewers and all of our audio listeners. And until next time, Dave and everybody else, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Only one with something in his hand.
Okay, now what do I click?
Oh, Dave.
Oh my god.
All right. Going offline. Good night, everybody. You are the best.
Bye.
Bye.